My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 251. As long as you are brave. Magical Amy was startled, and after looking carefully, she recognized the people. She clapped her hands and breathed a sigh of relief. It's Juno and Karen. You scared me. Hi, Amy. Good evening. Juno waved with a smile. Why are you here? Magical Amy asked casually while rolling down the car window. I came here to play. Juno smiled and said, can you give us a ride? Magical Amy frowned slightly. It doesn't seem to be on the way. Please, Juno asked with her hands clasped together. Okay. Magical Amy couldn't resist Juno's slightly coquettish expression. They were both high school and college alumni, and Juno seemed to be Adam's good friend. Thinking of this, she was moved and nodded with a smile. Thank you, thank you. Juno thanked her repeatedly, pulled Karen into the car, sat in the passenger seat, and Karen sat in the back seat. The car slowly drove out of the outdoor parking lot and drove towards Juno's apartment. So, you two are really in love? Magical Amy glanced at Karen in the rearview mirror, then looked at Juno, and couldn't help laughing. You are still wearing couple outfits at this time of night? Juno and Karen are inseparable every day, and both of them are top-notch beauties. Even if they are low-key, they are like the moon at night. When the bright moon comes out, the whole school looks up. The alternative high profile creates an alternative figure. Juno laughed and said, love is a matter of fate. You and Adam were much more exaggerated than Karen and I. One was a famous campus belle in the senior grade, and the other was the most handsome campus hunk in the junior grade. I don't know how many people envied and hated you, Adam. Magical Amy muttered, with a look of aftertaste in her eyes. We did have a beautiful past, but, when she said this, her eyes flashed. He is in love with that Max now. You mean Max? Juno waved her hand and said, he was just playing around. You don't know, since he was dumped by you, he has completely degenerated into a playboy. Over the years, he has never had the intention of managing his relationship properly. He changes girlfriends every once in a while. This Max will disappear soon, is that so? Magical Amy raised the corner of her mouth. It seems that my breakup with him was indeed a big blow to him. It's all my fault. It's not entirely because of you. Juno shook her head and said, a few years ago, he did have a serious girlfriend, and she had a great influence on Adam. Who is she? Magical Amy's voice turned cold. Her name is Heather. Juno smiled and said, she is not only beautiful, but also has a sexy body. Adam likes her the most. It's a pity that she went back to Texas to inherit the manor farm. But I am optimistic about them. There is a great possibility of reunion in the future. Magical Amy didn't want to talk anymore. She exuded a cold aura that no strangers or acquaintances were allowed to enter. Juno glanced at her and stopped talking. The air suddenly became quiet. Stop here, Juno suddenly reminded. That's it. Magical Amy subconsciously slowed down and pulled over, looking at the straight road with no village in front and no shop behind, and asked in confusion, that's it. Juno smiled and said, by the way, Amy, do you want to meet Heather? We can take you to her place to play. Magical Amy stopped the car, looked at Juno in surprise, and thought to herself, I'm sick, why do I want to see her? But then her mouth and nose were covered, and a special smell rushed into her nasal cavity. She was so frightened that she fainted before she figured out what was going on. New York. Ross and Rachel's mess is finally over. Everyone has peace and quiet. A celebratory dinner was held for this. Then they heard a shocking news. Poof. Adam sprayed the wine directly, looked at Phoebe in shock, and kept coughing. What? I'm pregnant with Frank's child. Phoebe tilted her head and said indifferently, if I remember correctly, Frank is your half-brother, right? Adam complained. Yes. Phoebe thought clearly and said, isn't it very loving? Everyone was speechless. Phoebe, this is immoral, Monica reminded. It's also illegal, Adam added. The memory is too long and too vague. Recently, he has been busy writing Vanishing Girl. For a moment, he really can't remember whether this happened. His first reaction is extreme shock. This is the United States, not Germany. Oh, it's not what you think. Phoebe finally reacted, waved her hand and smiled. The child is not mine and Frank's. It's Alice and his. So? Adam complained. This is only a little better, but it's still shocking. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm Frank's sister, Phoebe said seriously, although we didn't grow up together. I really like having such a brother. When he gets married, I don't have money to buy him any expensive gifts, so just treat it as a perfect wedding gift for them. He also likes to find masseuses. Adam sneered. How did you stop him at the beginning? How old is he? He thinks whatever he wants. As his biological sister, what you should do is to guide him on the right path, not follow his temper and help him have children. He didn't listen to me, Phoebe said helplessly. When he married Alice, I tried my best to stop it, but it was useless. Alice is just his home economics teacher. She is 26 years older than him and has freedom of marriage. This is nothing. Adam shook his head and said, and to put it bluntly, their love came quickly and most of the time it went away quickly, and there was no cost at all. Yeah, Monica agreed. You are his biological sister. It always feels weird. Phoebe spread her hands and said, as a biological sister, shouldn't I help them? It's because you are a biological sister that you shouldn't do this, Adam advised. Little Frank has just become an adult. He doesn't know anything and hasn't experienced anything. Now it looks fresh and feels that it's fun to have a child with a teacher, but it's easy to have a child but hard to raise a child. There will be all kinds of troubles at that time. Are you sure he can hold on? If he can't hold on, it will be another family tragedy, and another child will have no complete family since childhood. Even if he can hold on, he will pay a huge price and be nailed there for most of his life, running around to raise a child, with no future at all. He and his teacher may be able to love each other for 1, 2, or 5 years, but do you really think they can love each other for a lifetime? When he is in his 30s, his teacher will be 60. This is the most realistic problem. Look at them every time they come over. What impressed us the most? Yes, it is that they hug each other and chew on each other no matter what time. This shows that there is more heart and passion between them. When his teacher is 60 years old, will he still hug and chew on each other no matter what time like now? Now you are selflessly devoting yourself to his momentary impulse, in exchange for his temporary happiness, and most likely a painful second half of his life. Are you sure you want to do this? Chapter 252. Where is Magical Amy? New York. Apartment 520. Then what should I do? Phoebe hesitated after hearing what Adam said. Her life story is very bloody. Her biological father ran away. Her stepmother committed suicide. Her biological mother abandoned her. Her stepfather went to prison. Her twin sisters ignored her, and she lived on the streets when she was a teenager. If it were at some point, she would have been the protagonist. But unfortunately, she is not the protagonist. So, after finally finding her biological father's new family, she only recognized a willful and unreliable weird brother. She tried her best to be nice to him, but she couldn't stop him from marrying a home economics teacher who was 26 years older than him and whom she had just met. Now she couldn't bear to reject her weird brother's absurd idea and actually wanted to be a surrogate for her brother. The biggest reason is naturally not that she can only shoot like this because she is pregnant, but that she wants to please this weird brother too much, because this weird brother is the only blood relative who is willing to get close to her. Others, biological father, biological mother, twin sisters, don't care about her at all, and they are not even willing to meet regularly and say hello. In comparison, it was easy to understand why she had no principles towards this weird brother. Of course I reject him, Adam said without hesitation. I remember he is in community college now. Let him study hard and find a good job in the future. If he still wants to have a baby, you can help him raise money to find a surrogate mother instead of you. He won't agree, Phoebe said in a dilemma. Alice's age is also a problem. It's not that exaggerated, Adam complained. Calm down for a year first, and then you don't have time to postpone it for a year. It should be okay, right? And you can save more money with this year. You can convince his home economics teacher first. She is the leader of this relationship. As long as she agrees, your brother will definitely be very obedient. After all, Students are afraid of teachers. What if she disagrees? Phoebe was tempted. In fact, she also thought that the idea of surrogacy was a bit absurd. She doesn't even agree to this, which shows that her quick marriage and quick pregnancy with an 18-year-old student is very problematic. Adam analyzed. She doesn't consider your brother at all. Does she really love your brother? Yes, Monica also said. She is a teacher. She would make this point. If you ask me, why do they still have a child? Chandler sneered. Isn't your brother her child? Isn't it enough to raise one? With that energy and money, you might as well train your brother well. He has an excellent child and a husband, and his quality of life is not reduced at all. How great. Genius idea. Adam praised. Phoebe, Chandler's idea is really good. You can use this to replace that ridiculous surrogacy. Your brother is only 18 years old, but he is just a child. If she thinks it through and trains your brother well, it will be good for you, your brother, and her. Great. Phoebe finally came to her senses, jumped and clapped her hands, and said, this is a good idea. I'll go find them now. As she said that, she was about to go outside. Phoebe. Adam stopped her and reminded her, don't mention the surrogacy again. They only have two choices. One is to wait a little longer, and the other is to train your brother well. You must be firm in your attitude. I will, Phoebe said happily. It's better this way. Adam was not optimistic about this and scared her. Otherwise, you will be pregnant with quintuplets, which is terrible. What? Everyone shouted in unison. Don't you know? Adam explained. Surrogacy is not cheap at all. With the income of Phoebe's brother and his wife, they can only pay for it once at most. However, the success rate of fertilized eggs implanting is only 25%. Therefore, for the sake of success rate, it is likely that 5 eggs will be injected at one time. If you are unlucky, all 5 will implant successfully, then you will have quintuplets. OMG, Monica exclaimed. Phoebe, don't do anything stupid. It is not easy to get pregnant with one child. If you get pregnant with 5, it may really be fatal. Not only you will suffer, Adam said, they will definitely not be able to bear it by then. Raising one child may be happy, but raising more than one child, even an exaggerated 5, will definitely be a punishment from God, so you must be firm in your attitude, otherwise you will not be helping your brother, but hurting others and yourself. I don't want to be a surrogate anymore. Phoebe tried to gesture at her belly that was pregnant with quintuplets, and was really scared, so she screamed. Adam, how about we go with Phoebe? Monica advised. I always feel that she is alone and unreliable. You will have to convince them when the time comes. Okay. Adam thought about it and did not refuse. Even though Phoebe was not a member of the core circle of friends, she had provided Adam with 20 points of strength. There was no reason for Adam to stand by and watch such a big thing. Adam took Phoebe and Monica to find Phoebe's unreliable weird brother. Over there, the unconscious magical Amy opened her eyes with difficulty. The dazzling light made her close her eyes again involuntarily, and then slowly opened them. Am I lying in the hospital now? The medical searchlight above her head made her think for the first time. But what happened before? How did I faint? Someone covered my mouth and nose. No. She remembered the scene before she fainted, and she had an ominous premonition in her heart. She wanted to get up but found that she couldn't move her whole body. Fear instantly struck her heart. Hey, you woke up. At this time, a familiar face came over. Who else could it be but Juno? Where is this place? What happened to me? Wonderful Amy asked anxiously. You don't remember? Juno smiled. I only remember that someone covered my mouth and nose from behind. Wonderful Amy said this, looking at Juno in doubt. She remembered that Karen was sitting in the back seat. They were all in the car at that time. No one could do anything to her except Karen. Juno smiled and said, think about it again. Wonderful Amy felt a chill in her heart. Although Juno did not answer, she knew that it was indeed Juno and Karen who did it to her. So what was the reason? She had no grudges against them. Could it be Adam? As an outstanding graduate of Harvard School of Psychology, Wonderful Amy was certainly not stupid, and she immediately guessed the biggest possibility. Let me introduce someone to you. Juno still did not comment, and smiled and pulled someone over. Guess who she is? Heather. Wonderful Amy took a look. From the other party's beautiful face and the oppressive proud figure, and then associated with Juno's weird invitation before the coma. How could she not guess? Then she fell into greater fear. Is this Texas? How long has she been unconscious? What on earth do Juno and the others want to do? Chapter 253. You dare not. See, your features are too obvious. Anyone can recognize you as soon as you mention them. Juno teased. That's not good, is it? There's a reason why the killer world considers A level to be high and D, E, F, and G level to be inferior. Concealment is also a talent. You just want to pester Adam? Heather ignored Juno's jokes and looked down at amazing Amy with a cold face. At this moment, she is no longer the vase that was scared and trembling when she was forced by her scumbag ex-boyfriend and bestie. After the Chainsaw Carnival, she revived some of the madness of the Sawyer family, and she is now a real fierce cowgirl with the company of her cousin Leatherface. The beautiful blue eyes stare at people, full of oppression. No, Magical Amy was shocked and quickly denied. I just met him by chance and reminisced about the past. You must not have misunderstood. Adam didn't say that. Juno laughed. He said you wanted to get back together with him, but he refused. But now you want to move to New York. If this is not entanglement, what is it? Oh my God, how can this be considered entanglement? Magical Amy said aggrievedly. I did want to get back together with him, but after he refused, I let it go. The reason why I was going to New York was not because I wanted to go, but because my parents had already planned to do so. I followed them, not to entangle Adam. Then did we misunderstand you? Juno's face changed. Yes, Magical Amy said anxiously. I was the one who dumped him, not him dumping me. How could I possibly entangle him? But it's already like this. Juno hesitated. Kill him, Karen said faintly. There's no turning back. No, Wonderful Amy screamed in horror. This is just a misunderstanding. We can pretend that nothing happened. I swear I won't say anything. I don't believe her, Karen said coldly. I agree. Now that things have come to this, it's natural to put an end to it. Heather agreed. No, Wonderful Amy screamed. If you kill me, the police will find you. That won't happen, Juno kindly reminded. You've been attending farewell parties recently. The last one was the last one. Your friends in Boston thought you were gone. As for your parents, they are in New York, and they don't seem to care about you much. They haven't contacted you for more than 2 weeks. Once this blank time is over, no one knows where you went. The U.S. police's efficiency in solving cases is not as efficient and sharp as in the movies and TV series they sponsor. Most of the time, it will become an unsolved case, or they will think that you can't stand your parents' control over you and run away from home. Your parents may even use this as an excuse to publish another Wonderful Amy series of books. Wonderful Amy's face became paler and paler as Juno spoke. How could she not know that Juno was clearly well prepared and had probably already targeted her, considering that they chose to act in the dead of night and knocked her down without any struggle or resistance? The possibility of being noticed was minimal. It was really possible that no one knew about her disappearance at this moment. And as time went on, the already few clues would disappear automatically. Who could find out? If the U.S. police were really that powerful, there wouldn't be so many serial perverted murder cases, and even fewer would be solved. A large number of people disappear every year due to various reasons, such as running away from home, being trafficked, being imprisoned in the basement, being killed to silence them, etc. Every few years, a large cemetery is discovered somewhere, in the forest, in the ocean, in the wall, etc. There is nothing impossible that you can't think of, and then it becomes a sensation and becomes the talk of the American people. Among them, most of them are anonymous. Of course, Magical Amy often sees a dentist and has dental records. When the teeth are really dug out, she can still recognize them. But what's the use? Besides, she herself looked down on the U.S. police. Otherwise, she would not be able to plot against everyone in the future. Her heart was full of contempt when she described it. Not to mention that after the incident, she dared to change the plan temporarily, risking failure and being arrested, and went back to face everyone after killing. Facing the questioning of so many police officers and the questioning of the female detective who saw the flaws in her story, she was calm and composed, and forced the female detective to retreat with a few words, successfully making her know that she had a problem, but had to let go. Of course, this has not happened in the future. But before, she dared to plot and successfully plotted against her ex-boyfriend. To say that she can look up to the US police is simply a joke. But now, this superior mentality has brought her great fear. At this moment, how she hopes that the US police can be more powerful. She can break the law knowingly, and nothing will happen afterwards. Now, Juno and others, who have planned in advance, have a meticulous plan, and act efficiently, will directly kill people if they disagree, which is countless times more cruel than her. Expecting them to be brought to justice, that's too naive. But she had everything she wanted, and now she really didn't want to die. Between life and death, there was a great terror. If she hadn't been injected with water and sleeping pills, she would have been paralyzed like a dead person, unable to move. I'm afraid she would have been shaking all over. Oh, what a pity. Juno sighed. I wanted to be friends with you. She must be killed. Karen's tone became even colder. Yes, who knows if what she said is true or false. Women's mouths are deceiving, and she is a woman who is very good at psychology, so she is even more deceiving. Heather took a small electric saw and pulled the switch. The electric saw immediately made a buzzing sound, which was extremely scary. I really didn't lie to you. How could Magical Amy bear this? The tranquilizer couldn't stop the tears from sliding down from the corners of her eyes. The electric saw was hitting her body, and it was painful and terrifying just thinking about it. Really? Juno leaned over and looked at Magical Amy closely, and said seriously, are you sure? Boom. Magical Amy suddenly thought of something. Her face turned pale at first, but then she recovered. The great terror in her eyes disappeared and she quickly calmed down. At this moment, her mind was racing. It wasn't for nothing that she was an outstanding graduate of the Harvard School of Psychology. She immediately realized the problem. If Juno and the others wanted to do it, why bother talking to her? And how could killing someone be so easy? If they really wanted to kill her, they would probably make her unconscious first, which would be easier. They were trying to scare her, to make her surrender. It's even possible that Juno wanted to puah her, who doesn't know how to play psychological games. She had an ace in her hand. No matter how they played their cards, she was sure to kill them. Thinking of this, she completely regained her composure, and the corners of her mouth even curled up slightly. You don't dare to do it. Chapter 254. Who do you think we are? Don't dare. Facing the confidence of Magical Amy, Juno and Heather looked at each other and smiled. Karen, Juno shouted. Got it. Karen understood and stepped forward to raise the head of Magical Amy's bed so that Magical Amy could see the whole room. Magical Amy's eyes narrowed, and what she saw was an operating table with a big deer on it. Heather. Juno nodded to Heather. Buzz buzz buzz. Heather nodded, pulled the small electric saw, and immediately started the electric saw. She smiled brightly at Magical Amy, raised the electric saw and sawed off one of the big deer's legs. Ah, such a bloody scene. Magical Amy couldn't help but exclaimed, you are scaring me, you are scaring me. I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid. Buzz buzz buzz. The sound of the electric saw responded to her. It has to be said that the reason why the Texas Chainsaw series has been so popular for so long is that it has always been a classic series of horror movies, and it has its own unique features. The American people are not interested in the atmosphere of terror in the East, but they are particularly fond of this naked blood spray. When they see this, screaming is inevitable. Heather plans to lock up her cousin Leatherface in the underground wine cellar for life and prevent him from killing people again, but Leatherface has an extreme bloodthirsty impulse besides eating and sleeping. In order to calm her cousin's restlessness, Heather has to buy or hunt animals every now and then to let her cousin vent his restlessness. In addition, she grew up in a slaughterhouse when she was a child. After a long time, she is also familiar with dismembering animals with chainsaws. Now she shows off her special skills. Magical Amy just screamed at first and could bear it, but then it became more and more bloody and she collapsed immediately. You can't kill me. If I die, Adam will be finished. Juno reached out, and Heather stopped the chainsaw immediately. What do you mean, you can't kill me? If I die, Adam will be finished too. Wonderful Amy kept screaming the same sentence repeatedly. Even if Heather stopped, she didn't stop immediately. She kept screaming 4 or 5 times. Then she realized that Juno and the others were all looking at her. You don't dare to kill me. Wonderful Amy escaped death and shouted in surprise, once I die, Adam will be finished too. I still have important evidence. The police will definitely find Adam, and then they will find you by following the clues. I am a celebrity. Public opinion will definitely force them to work harder to solve the case. You don't dare to kill me. Ha ha ha. Juno waited for her to vent and regain her confidence, and then said leisurely, October 24, 1995, Boston. There is a writers' social party tonight. After I went there, I unexpectedly met my ex-boyfriend from high school. Although he is very different now and has a successful career, just like when I took the initiative to break up, I don't have any feelings for him anymore. But obviously he doesn't think so. No. When wonderful Amy heard this, her face turned pale and she screamed in despair. Who do you think we are? Juno took a diary from the table, walked to wonderful Amy, patted the diary, and sighed. A perverted murderer? We went to great lengths to kidnap you for no reason? No. We are doing justice for the heavens. We are on the side of justice. You are the evil villain. We have important evidence. No. Wonderful Amy screamed again at the top of her lungs, this time in complete despair. New York, morning jogging time. Adam, you are really good, Monica exclaimed after her jog. If you hadn't gone with her, Phoebe would have been pregnant with quintuplets. That's right, Chandler echoed. Does it need to be said that Adam is very persuasive? You can tell by how many female friends he has. I bet that Adam probably had a relationship with a beautiful female teacher in high school, otherwise it would be impossible for Frank Jr.'s female teacher wife to agree so easily. Obviously, he has experience, isn't it? Monica's gossip spirit burned when she heard it. He. Adam smiled non-committally. Actually, I'm not that good. In terms of persuasion, Juno is the real master. She is gifted and can see through people's hearts. When she plays psychological warfare, no one can resist. When she went yesterday, it was definitely faster and more effective. Really? Monica said in disbelief. Juno looks completely different from Roger. Roger, Phoebe's ex-boyfriend, psychiatrist, is a person that everyone hates. Every time they meet, he analyzes everyone's psychology in various ways. But he is professional and guesses very accurately. He often reveals some subconscious things that everyone didn't expect, which makes everyone stunned and then angry. Although not as good as Beverly, it's not much worse. Think about it. Adam nodded his temple. I know, Chandler shouted. Just because we can't see it, it shows that Juno is so powerful. Look at Roger. He is a psychiatrist. Doesn't he know that he is so annoying? Of course he knows, but he can't control himself, which shows that the most difficult thing is self-control. Juno's self-control is so hard for us to see that we think she is just a girl next door, and we never thought that she is more powerful than Roger. Isn't this the scary thing, huh? Monica was stunned, a little bit unbelievable, but she felt that what Chandler said made sense, and she was speechless. Let's not talk about this. Adam smiled and said, Monica, how is your funeral banquet contractor going? Oh, it's great. When Monica mentioned this, she became excited. I received another big business of 60 people yesterday. This is the friend of the deceased last time. Word of mouth has spread. My friend. Congratulations. Adam congratulated. She had quit her job as a cosplay Big Bear chef at Mac's restaurant a long time ago. She really didn't like that kind of slightly humiliating pretense. Now, she has started to undertake funeral banquets and become an independent banquet chef. This is not something she came up with on a whim. In fact, she has done some work sporadically over the past 3 years, but she has never thought about becoming a professional banquet chef. Working for others as a restaurant chef is stable enough. There is no pressure, and you can slack off from time to time. As a banquet chef, you can earn more as your own boss, but the pressure is greater. It is unstable. There are too many things to consider, and the work is too tiring. Both have their advantages and disadvantages. Thank you again. Monica thanked sincerely. If you hadn't lent me $500 to buy materials and encouraged me to try, I really wouldn't dare to take on such a big business. Banquets are big and small. She used to only take banquets for more than 10 people, at most 20 people. For banquets with more than 60 people, the initial investment cost alone is not a small number. As she is unemployed, without Adam, she would probably turn it down. Chapter 255. Don't be afraid, think carefully. Central Park. You're welcome. Adam smiled and said, we're all friends. You're doing a serious job, so of course I have to support you. As far as he could remember, Monica was unemployed and working as a funeral contractor, and it was Phoebe who supported her financially. But Phoebe herself was fired because she was attracted by the firm gluteus maximus of a massage client. She first lent money to Monica to encourage her to do it, but within a few days, she put on a blank face and asked for it back immediately. Obviously, Phoebe herself was short of money. Regardless of whether Phoebe was cheating or not, at least she tried her best to support Monica. But Ross, as a brother, could have easily taken out the money to support his sister, but he didn't even mention it. The Michael brothers settled accounts to this extent, which was simply speechless. Adam thought to himself that he couldn't do it. Maybe Monica will become a big boss in the future. Chandler joked. Maybe. Monica smiled happily. Adam smiled and said nothing. Since crossing over, he has figured it out. Unless he is just a bystander, he will have to change the fate of his friends to some extent. For example, Chandler. He is very different now. He reconciled with his parents early, eliminated the shadow in his heart, and fell in love with Susie, who hated him, and lived a happier life. He gave up his IT job, did not become a supervisor, and was not hostile to his former colleagues. He chose a new job that he liked and was willing to fight for his whole life. In the future, his job will no longer be a burden, but a career with unlimited growth possibilities. Running every morning has improved his physical strength and physical fitness. Whether it is happiness or wanting to have a child in the future, it has become a reality. For example, Monica. With his help, Monica may go to be an independent contractor for funeral banquets, and then make a lot of money, and her life will be very different from now on. These changes were brought by Adam. Will it affect the future of Chandler and Monica's CP? Of course. Adam thought of it at the beginning, but he still decided to do it. As Monica said, she was not planning to find Chandler at first, but wanted to find Joey to indulge herself, but by chance, Joey was not there, so she indulged herself with Chandler for a night. Uncle Richard was once Monica's favorite, but when she fell in love with Chandler, she saw Richard again, and he no longer had the boundless love she had at the beginning, and was very calm. Love at first sight is not love, it is just the attraction of hormones. Long-term companionship is the most long-lasting confession. Chandler and Monica have obviously gone through this process and successfully evolved from years of friendship to love. The appearance of Adam has created infinite uncertainty between them, but because of this, will Adam not help them move towards a better self? Of course not. With the help of Adam, when the two of them are moving towards a happier future, even if they are no longer paired with each other, they will definitely be able to embrace happiness. CP is not absolute, happiness is eternal. What Adam has to do is to produce happiness, not just be a porter of happiness. Over there, when Magical Amy revealed her trump card, she unexpectedly encountered even greater despair, because Juno cheated and replaced her trump card with a scoundrel in advance. Are you still pretending with us? Heather sneered. Do you think you can fool us and Juno? Kill him. Karen said coldly. I didn't. After Magical Amy's despair, she had a great desire to survive again, and said anxiously, I don't know what Adam said to you, but I really think so. And the diary was not written for myself, but for others, so these are not my true thoughts. I can't write that I want to get back together, but Adam doesn't want to, right? It's so embarrassing to be seen by others. Well, that makes sense. Juno nodded. Such an embarrassing thing can't be told to others. Are you using the diary as material to write your own Magical Amy series in the future? Yes, yes, yes. Seeing that Juno was easy to talk to, Magical Amy couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope and agreed again and again. Then what's going on between you and your ex-boyfriend? Juno asked curiously. Did he really want to force you? Wonderful Amy froze, not knowing what to say for a moment. Normally, she would deny it, but in this situation, she didn't dare to lie again after her lie was exposed. Otherwise she seriously suspected that Heather's chainsaw would hit her directly. She's not stupid. At this point, although she didn't know whether Juno and the others would kill her, She knew that the key was to please Juno. Juno was the core leader of the three. If Juno was really, like she said, not a perverted killer, but a righteous party, she absolutely couldn't lie again, because she didn't know how much Juno knew. And seeing that Juno even got her diary, it was obvious that she knew enough, and she couldn't use lies to stimulate them. But if she told the truth, it would confirm her dark side, and then her previous statement that the diary was just material and had no ill will towards Adam would be problematic again. Don't worry, think about it slowly. Juno smiled and said, after all, such an exciting thing will have a great impact on you. In addition, we are in this environment now, so take it slow and think it through first. Yeah. Magical Amy looked at Juno gratefully. Even though she knew that Juno was playing psychological warfare with her, she was still grateful to Juno. The Stockholm effect is no joke. Her life and death are controlled by Juno. Juno's slight care will be infinitely magnified in the great terror of life and death. This is a psychological fluctuation that is beyond her control. Similarly, why are bad guys so easily whitewashed? It's because some people are psychologically pooing the transition between insecurity and security. They subconsciously like this more secure result and want bad guys to become good guys. Then the worse the bad guys are, the more this subconscious will be magnified. If a supervillain boss shows a little tenderness, many people will definitely shout love, tears. This is true love, and this tenderness seems to become the whole of the supervillain boss. For example, the supervillain Thanos, who killed half of the universe, performed the taste of a superhero, and many people still buy into this. Why? The answer is self-evident. Before Magic Amy's tense nerves could relax a little, Juno's behavior made her feel scared again. Juno, wearing a doctor's white coat, began to sew up the dismembered deer leg seriously with the help of Karen and Heather. His movements were skillful, his expression was relaxed, and he joked from time to time. What kind of people are these? Magic Amy shouted in her heart. No matter how you look at it, they look like perverts. Adam Duncan, you really killed me. What are you doing with so many perverted friends around you? Exclamation mark. P.S. Thanks to the book friend 160601201604275 for the reward. Chapter 256. She is not the first, nor the last. An hour later, in the pale face of Magical Amy, Juno and the other two sutured a whole deer, dissected it, and sutured it again, giving a vivid anatomy lesson. Seeing the deer lying on the operating table, unable to move, she felt so involved. The cuts and needles seemed to be stabbed into her body. What do you think? Juno came over and asked with a smile. I designed it. Magical Amy's desire to survive reached its limit, and her psychological defenses began to loosen. There are two answers, and she really dare not bet on the first one. In her eyes, Juno has really risen to the level of a perverted murderer. No matter how cruel, he said, it was not as intuitive as taking action. Under the scalpel, is there any difference between humans and animals? In American film and television dramas, many big villains are doctors holding scalpels. Why? It's like this now. People are the butchers and I am the fish. It's too scary. And doctors holding scalpels naturally have this skill and psychological quality. Once stimulated, they can directly transform. And the professionalism of doctors adds to the horror. Is it the horror of torture or the horror of slow slicing? Just think about it and you will know. Why? Juno asked with interest. I treated him so well, but he said he couldn't stand it and ignored me. How is that possible? There is only a difference between 0 and 1 in everything. After Amazing Amy told the truth, she simply said it all. At that time, I was thinking that I was always the one who dumped people, and no one could dump me. So a few days later, I brought his favorite bourbon whiskey and his favorite band CD, and 2 minutes later, I took off his pants. Ah, man, he said no with his mouth, but his body was very honest. I played the CD to the maximum volume, screaming and urging him not to treat me as a human tonight. Under the stimulation of his favorite music, he really was not a human. This is great. After he fell asleep exhausted, I tied the 2 ties I gave him to the head of his bed, tied the ties with one hand and the other, and tightened them hard to make the binding marks. Then I went to the police wearing the torn clothes. In addition, before coming to find him, I used a wine bottle to simulate the strong scars. The evidence is obvious. It's a pity that he pleaded guilty in advance. Otherwise he would have to spend 30 years in prison for first-degree strong crime. He didn't go to jail, but his life was almost ruined by you," Juno reminded. "With the name of a heart harasser, he still can't find a job because his application says he's a hard criminal. No one wants to hire him. The neighbors in his community put him on the watch list. Whenever he has a date, someone reminds the other party that he's a hard criminal, and then nothing happens. Why do you think I didn't insist on him going to jail?" Wonderful Amy sneered. "All this is within your expectations." Juno lowered the rate of the infusion tube and nodded. "Perhaps with your repeated reminders. Even if he is lucky enough to find a job or date who doesn't know about his current situation, I think he will be exposed soon, right?" Wonderful Amy sneered and agreed. "Take a rest first. We'll see you later." Juno smiled, turned around and left the room with Heather and Karen. Outside Adam's cabin in the woods. Texas is too far away, so Juno and the others brought Wonderful Amy here. "Should we just kill her?" Heather said seriously. "She's very dangerous. If she stays here, it will be a hidden danger to Adam and us." "Kill her," Karen agreed. "Today is Friday. To be safe, we have at most 2 days of the weekend. The time is too short. She is also a weird person. You can't change her." "I know," Juno nodded. "She is indeed dangerous, but I still want to try." "What I said to her is not a lie. We are indeed not evil villains. Even if we fail in the end and can only kill her, we have a clear conscience." Heather nodded. Karen was silent. Among the three, Juno and Heather are experienced, but Karen has the strongest killing intention. But this is also in line with their situation. Juno is chivalrous and Heather is seeking revenge for her relatives. Both of them have normal values. Karen, on the other hand, has an extreme temper. She was able to follow Adam with a utility knife for Jennifer. If Juno hadn't noticed the problem long ago and followed secretly and stopped her in time, who knows what would have happened. Afterwards, Juno's charm conquered Karen, making her obedient, as if she had become Juno's shadow. She also let go of her hatred for Adam and became Adam's friend. But she was still extreme towards outsiders, especially Wonderful Amy, who threatened not only Adam but also Juno. Even if she succeeded, she might snatch Juno from her. All these made her murderous. "It's better not to kill than to kill," Juno explained. As she said, she is a celebrity, big or small, and with the temperament of her parents. Once she disappears, they will definitely take the opportunity to publicize it and make a big fuss. Even if we have made all kinds of careful preparations in advance, it's better to be safe than sorry. Besides, we are not hopeless. On the contrary, the success rate is not low. I still have confidence in this aspect. Finally, I have a hunch that she is not the first and will not be the last. Do we have to kill her every time? Then in the end, we will really become evil villains, perverted killers. At this point, she looked at Karen. Juno is right. Heather was shocked and looked at Juno gratefully. She has the madness of the Sawyer family in her bloodline, and she almost exploded at the Chainsaw Carnival before. As she accompanied her cousin Leatherface and her alcoholic adoptive mother, she was a little lost without realizing it. This can be seen from the fact that she immediately set out here after receiving the news and settling the manor, and she could directly start with a small chainsaw. Of course, it was more to protect Adam, but it is impossible to say that there is no factor of gradually indifferent to life. But Juno's words woke her up. With a sharp weapon, the killing intention arises. Juno's scalpel is no worse than her chainsaw, but Juno can always remain calm and peaceful, which is simply too rare. No wonder Karen listens to Juno so much. At this moment, Heather was completely convinced by Juno. "I listen to you." Karen pouted. She knew that Juno's last sentence was said to her. She didn't know if there was a next one, but Magic Amy was certainly not the first person who posed a huge threat to Adam. She was. Juno appeared beside her silently at the beginning, and did not kill her, but held her hand and led her to the light. Otherwise, how could she be so happy now? This kind of Juno is the light, electricity, and the only myth that radiates infinite light in her mind. "Okay," Juno smiled and said, "just give her more than 2 days. We will try our best to persuade her, guide her, and transform her. In the end, Whether she lives or dies depends on herself. Karen and Heather nodded in unison, followed Juno on the left and right, and pushed the door open and walked in. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 257 I Have No Feelings. New York Medical Center. As one of the teaching hospitals cooperating with Columbia University Medical School, it provides clinical internship opportunities for Columbia University medical students. I'm so nervous, Iliad muttered uneasily. This is our first time to face real patients. What if we mess up? I don't know what to do if the patient asks questions. What if they don't let us check? Bianca, who was standing by, also began to feel uneasy and pulled her white coat. It feels a bit like a costume. Are we really going to see patients as doctors? Relax, Adam comforted. This is a teaching hospital. Those who can be checked by us have been notified in advance. There are teachers with you. Just check boldly. There is nothing to worry about. Yes. Iliad breathed a sigh of relief, and Adam will be the first to go. Let's see first. Adam glanced at her and complained in his heart. What a coward. With this kind of psychological quality, let alone competing with him. Even Alice and William over there are much better than her. The competitive spirit she showed before was probably just a facade, and she was completely Little Red Riding Hood pretending to be the big bad wolf. Ethel Hoffman, let me introduce you. The instructor this time came in with a very fat middle-aged African-American woman and pointed at Adam. This is Adam Duncan. My memory is not very good, dear, but this must be your first time here, right? Ethel stretched out her hand and shook Adam's hand. Yes. Adam shook his hand back and said with a smile, "Ah, I told you." Ethel smiled and said, "A doctor as handsome as you. Even if I lose my memory, I will not forget it." Okay. The instructor also smiled and reminded, "Ethel, from now on, most of your time will be dealing with Adam. He will talk to you about some problems you have after coughing, and then help you check your body, okay?" Very good. If it were any other time, I would not be able to buy this service no matter how much money I spend. Ethel teased. Adam just smiled. If it were any other occasion, he would probably fight back. But in this occasion, he knew that the other party had no other intentions, just wanted to rely on teasing and humor to relieve his tense nerves. The torture brought by the disease has driven many people crazy, but also made some people more transparent and free-spirited. And Ethel is obviously the more transparent and free-spirited person. First, I want to talk to you about your cough and the reason why you are seeing the doctor, and then I will examine you. First, the back. Please take off your top and put on the hospital gown we provide. Adam said clearly and slowly. There is a hole in the back, so you don't need to change your skirt or anything. Please come here. I don't have to be naked. Ethel looked around at everyone and said humorously, "Do you want to see my old bones?" No. Iliad and Bianca hurriedly explained, "We will draw the curtain." Haha. Ethel laughed and took the hospital gown to change behind the curtain. First, I want to measure your vital signs, Adam said while examining her, taking her pulse with his hand to measure her pulse, then came behind her, tapped her back twice with his hand, and finally listened to her lungs with the stethoscope. He summarized the information he got from the examination to the instructor and expressed his thoughts. Very good. The instructor gave great affirmation. This shocked Iliad and Bianca. This set of procedures did not seem difficult at all. They felt that they could do it. Then, when the next patient arrived, they were immediately confused, because not every patient is so good-tempered. I don't want this person to treat me. Let this unprofessional person stay away from me. Sorry, sir. This is a teaching hospital. As doctors, we have the right to let students examine first. The instructor said neither servilely nor arrogantly. If you disagree, we can only ask you to leave. Seeing this, the patient could only accept Iliad's examination with a curse. Iliad became more nervous and stuttered when asking questions, which made the patient say more strange things. When Iliad finished, her forehead was sweating. Don't worry. Patients are like this. They always hope to get the best and most professional treatment, But they don't know that if they all don't give medical students the opportunity to get started, how can they get the best and most professional treatment? The instructor smiled and comforted. Bullshit, the patient sneered. Only poor people like us can do nothing. If you have the guts, why don't you let the rich give these medical students a chance to get started? You use us as a training ground, and provide the best and most professional treatment to the rich. You still have the nerve to say that we are all like this. It's like this in teaching hospitals. No matter if you are rich or poor, you only have one identity when you come here, and you are all patients. The instructor smiled. Adam nodded secretly. This attitude is worth learning. The East Country pays more attention to the efficacy. The attitude is not the most important thing. In the United States, doctors must have a good attitude towards patients. This is more important than the efficacy of medical skills. Avoid conflicts with patients. Everything goes through the process. Whether the treatment is good or not is another matter. Whether this is good or not depends on one's opinion. But Adam reminded himself again, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. This is just a job. Don't get carried away. I am a professional, and I don't have feelings. Here, Adam is trying to become a professional without feelings. Over there, the cabin in the woods. As the sedative drips decreased, Magical Amy regained a weak connection with her body, which increased her hope of survival. Then she regretted it. I just want to briefly tell you what happened. Why did you say so much and in such detail? Moreover, after Juno and the others heard her explosive inner thoughts, they went out directly, obviously to discuss how to deal with her. Oh no, wonderful Amy hated in her heart. If she were Juno and the others, she would definitely be very vigilant after knowing that the other party was calculating and retaliating against others. The diary she wrote about Adam, the move to New York, and the revenge she had on her ex-boyfriend, with Juno and the strange feelings they had for Adam. Would they really leave her a way out? If I had known earlier, I would have taken a gamble. The fact that her ex-boyfriend was strong could be found out by anyone with a mind. But the evidence she created was very perfect. If she hadn't said it out loud, who would have thought of it? Damn it, if she hadn't been unable to move now, she would probably have slapped herself twice. Smart for a lifetime, but confused for a moment. If she hadn't been so mean and exposed herself, Juno and the others probably really just wanted to scare her. Otherwise, why did they just say it but not do it? No, I can't just sit there and wait for death. I still have a chance. I'm Magic Amy. The sky cleared up and the rain stopped, and she felt that she could do it again. Chapter 258. Do you still want to be a human being? The cabin in the woods. She's in good spirits. Very good. Juno and the other two pushed the door open and came in. Seeing that Magical Amy had swept away her previous fear and despair, and seemed to have regained her fighting spirit, she couldn't help but smile knowingly. She had taken this into consideration when she lowered the dripping speed of the tranquilizer. It was impossible to persuade and guide someone like Magical Amy to change by hitting her once or twice, or by despairing her once or twice. Of course, once or twice wouldn't work, so 3, 4, or countless times. While fighting psychologically, the physical confrontation must also keep up. If she was fixed there motionlessly, her psychological resistance would indeed be reduced for a while. But at the same time, once her body returned to normal, the despair and compromise and obedience she had felt before would naturally be suppressed again, creating an illusion that she was fine again after the sky cleared and the rain stopped. This is a very dangerous mentality and must be eliminated. The method is also very simple. While fighting psychologically, release the restrictions on her body step by step. Finally, when her body is free, her mind is completely obedient, and that's when the job is done. It's similar to hawk training. These are all delicate technical jobs, and ordinary people simply can't perform them successfully. But Juno is a natural talent in this area, and has rich and successful practical experience. As long as she is given enough time, she will succeed 100%. Now, for the sake of safety, there are only more than 2 days, which is not enough time, but she is also 70% sure. You are also very conflicted now, right? Magical Amy regained her resistance and sneered. I dare not kill you, and I can't let you go. You want me to get Stockholm Syndrome? Haha. Do you think it's possible? I dare not kill you? Karen sneered. Do you know how hard Juno has to endure? She is a medical student, and she is so eager to perform surgery on people on the operating table herself. But under normal circumstances, she will have several years to get the chance. If she wants to control the entire operation, she can't even think about it without 10 years. And it is impossible for a normal doctor to do whatever he wants like this in his lifetime. Magical Amy's face turned pale, and her self-confidence and fighting spirit shrank back. She trembled and said, "Then why not kill you now?" Karen sneered, "It seems that you still don't know how precious you are. There are too few opportunities like this. Every preliminary preparation should be done to the best. Practice again and again in advance to improve your condition to the best, so as not to waste the precious opportunities you provide. Don't scare her." Seeing that Magical Amy was pale and trembling all over, Juno interrupted Karen with a smile, and then smiled at Magical Amy. "Don't worry, you are right. I am very entangled now, so you still have a chance. I am willing to do anything, as long as you let me go." Magical Amy trembled even more and cried, because Juno did not refute Karen's words. "We will see." Juno smiled and nodded to Karen. Karen and Heather also put another deer on the operating table and skillfully helped Juno put on the surgical gown again. This posture of repeated practice made Magical Amy collapse immediately. If this was just to scare her, how could they be so well prepared? They really had this plan. Seeing Magical Amy crying non-stop, Juno advised, "Don't cry. Aren't you too bored? Heather, read us all an interesting story to relieve boredom." "Okay." Heather understood, went over to take a stack of manuscripts, and began to read. It was the outline of the story of Lost Lover written by Adam. Wonderful Amy was sobbing at first, but as the story progressed, she was immediately attracted, because this was her. Then, she became more and more afraid, because the her in this story was so scary that even she was afraid of herself. Now, she finally understood why Juno and the others reacted so strongly. Writing a diary and moving to New York was not a big deal, and it would not make them take such a big risk to kidnap her and kill her. But if combined with the story of the lost lover, this stress reaction was nothing. As for whether she would do something like the story, she thought about it for a while and came up with the answer, yes. And whether Juno and the others would kill her like this, the answer was also affirmative, yes. After coming up with this answer, she imagined it again, and Wonderful Amy fell into a deeper round of collapse. New York, morning jogging time. Monica was busy with the funeral banquet, so she didn't attend today. Only Adam and Chandler were there. After running, as he was walking back, Chandler caught sight of someone and couldn't help but shout, "Kathy, Kathy." Adam followed his gaze and saw a beautiful woman wearing headphones running across the street. "Kathy, Kathy." Seeing that the beautiful woman didn't hear him, Chandler rushed over without thinking, almost getting hit by a car, then hitting Butter, knocking down passers-by, falling on a garbage dump, stepping on the roof of a taxi, running all the way, and finally standing in front of the beautiful Kathy, panting. "Chandler, why are you here?" Kathy asked in surprise. "I was running just now," Chandler said breathlessly. "I saw you and thought of saying hello to you." "Hi," Kathy replied with a smile. "Okay." Chandler was immediately at a loss. Apart from this greeting, he didn't know what to say to her. After struggling again and again, he left with a sad face, leaving Kathy confused. "Over there." "I just wanted to say hello to her," Chandler said to Adam awkwardly. "Okay." Adam shrugged. "You're so forgetful. Just to say hello? You must be kidding." "Let's see who can hold it in." Adam. Chandler hesitated for a moment and said awkwardly, "You know everything? Only Joey doesn't know?" Adam complained. "What do you think I should do?" Chandler said distressedly, "I don't want to either, but I really can't control it. I've never had this feeling before. I feel like I'm in love." "But that's the girlfriend of your good roommate and buddy Joey," Adam reminded him. "Remember the brotherhood rules I told you about?" "That's right. What's supposed to come has finally come." After a long journey, when Joey got a girlfriend, Kathy, an actress, Chandler was still deeply attracted to her and was completely out of control. "But shouldn't we follow our own inner thoughts?" Chandler said unwillingly. "It is my freedom to love her." "Animals also completely follow their own hearts. They are completely free," Adam said disdainfully. The difference between humans and animals is that humans have social attributes and need to be constrained by social moral laws. It is impossible for them to have absolute freedom. So the question is, do you want to be an animal or a human? Chandler. Chapter 259, Magical Amy's Choice. It seems you still want to be a human being. Adam smiled and said, "This is a good sign." Chandler's mouth twitched, and he was speechless. "Adam, I always feel that your views are different from those of ordinary people." Chandler thought for a while and complained, "If it were someone else, even if they didn't support me, they would say let me choose freely, because this is my freedom." "How can you link freedom with animals like you do? Do you think what I said is wrong?" Adam smiled and said, "Animals are not bound by any human moral laws. This degree of freedom is definitely the freest, right? Blindly pursuing freedom, pursuing extreme freedom, and even disregarding human ethics and morals, isn't it developing towards animals? This is not evolution, but degeneration. This is different." Chandler didn't know how to refute. "Why is it different?" Adam complained. "Aren't many free people waving the banner of liberating nature? The essence of human beings is also an animal. What's the difference between being free by nature and degenerating into those unscrupulous animals?" The universal values in American TV series are not normal universal values at all, but distorted. At first glance, there is no problem, but it can't stand scrutiny at all. In Adam's mind, the values of the East Country and his previous life are the true universal values. When people get along with each other, it is natural for values to collide. The closer the relationship, the more frequent and intense the collision. Adam and Chandler's relationship is close enough. Either he changes Chandler's worldview, or Chandler changes his worldview. This is inevitable, however, as long as it is reasonable. The result of the collision between pseudo-universal values and true universal values is self-evident. "Then what should I do?" Chandler said frustratedly. "I remember I told you the answer a long time ago," Adam said speechlessly. "Of course brotherhood comes first. As for your so-called true love, it's all illusion, a strong impulse of the heart. When you get through it, you will find out how stupid it is to hurt the real brotherhood for such a ridiculous illusion." "But I don't think I can get through it," Chandler said painfully. "This feeling is too strong." "That's because you lack output," Adam sneered. "Men are crazy before and saintly after." "I'm not kidding." "So, I'll take you to have some fun tonight." "I'm not going to that kind of place." Chandler waved his hands repeatedly. "What are you thinking?" Adam patted him. "Am I that kind of person?" "Then where are you taking me?" Chandler was puzzled. "Don't worry, it's definitely a formal place," Adam said seriously. "We go to care for poor students who can't afford to go to college and donate money to them." "Oh," Chandler nodded, then shouted, "But what does this have to do with Kathy?" "Haha." Adam laughed. "Of course it is related, and it's a big deal. Just listen to me." "Don't you still believe me?" "Okay." Chandler had no choice but to nod and agree. He actually hoped that what Adam said was right, because he definitely didn't want to hurt Joey. Cabin in the Woods. "Amy, do you think the heroine in the book is scary?" Juno said casually while doing the autopsy. Magical Amy was stunned and speechless. This round of collapse was much stronger than the previous round. She was immersed in despair and was not very sensitive to the reactions of the outside world. But she didn't need to answer. Juno continued. "She framed her ex-boyfriend, slit her throat and helped her as a spare tire for many years, and then she and her husband were destroyed together. Such a horrible method is abnormal no matter how you look at it. But I understand her. Maybe she didn't want to do this, but she couldn't help it because she was sick." When Magical Amy heard this, her dazed eyes gradually had a glimmer of light, and she tilted her head to look at Juno. "Yes, she is sick." Juno smiled at Amazing Amy. "It's her parents' fault. They made her experience a completely abnormal childhood and adolescence, and created an image of a sister for her that she could never match. Her parents were indifferent to her and only cared about the sister in the book who was not her. This kind of continuous trauma was the beginning of everything. The envy of outsiders and the inferiority complex in her heart formed a strong sense of dislocation, which distorted her mind and made her have a strong desire to control her feelings. She couldn't control her parents, couldn't control the Amazing Amy in the book, and had no brothers or sisters. Naturally, she could only control her friends, especially her boyfriend. So whenever her boyfriend resisted her, she would be very angry, and even more so, she would have a strong revenge mentality and would do anything for it. Her ex-boyfriend who wanted to give her space was a typical example. Later, she met her husband. It seemed that he was impressed by his handsomeness and eloquence, but who could tell whether this was her active choice? She knew that her parents looked down on this down-and-out writer, but she ignored her parents' objection and married him soon. She even moved out of the big city for him, gave up her upper-class social circle, and went to a remote place to suffer. Isn't this a silent resistance? But what she didn't expect was that this man was not a good person either. After she paid so much, he began to be restless with her arrangements and control. She might not care about the brain-burning treasure hunt game on the anniversary of the engagement every year. The reason for this might be that she carefully designed it as an alarm from the beginning. A man is willing to rack his brains to play this game year after year for you, which means he loves you. Once he doesn't want to play anymore, or even doesn't want to perfunctorily, it means that he no longer loves you and is trying to get out of control. This is not allowed. So in the book, she really wanted to kill her husband, maybe a year ago. In the end, the reason why she risked returning was because she saw her husband's compromise on TV. Whether it was true or not, it was a compromise, and this is the kind of compromise she wants. He saw her methods and compromised. This was a good signal, which gave her the confidence to regain control of this relationship and write her own magical Amy legend. Therefore, she immediately planned to kill the spare tire who had been helping her for many years, calmly fabricated various evidences, and finally hugged her husband with spare tire blood in the spotlight. What could her husband do? He could only smile at countless cameras and secretly curse her in her ear. "You dead bitch." Her response was a dramatic fainting, so that her husband hugged her in a princess hug, and countless reporters who had been waiting there for a long time took pictures of this shocking scene. When she returned home and confronted her husband's insults, accusations and threats, she was not angry at all, but calm and even very happy, because this is the real her. As long as she can deal with her husband, she can not only stop hiding and have someone who can really face the real her, but also establish a new image outside. This time, the leader is no longer her parents, but herself. Facts have proved that she succeeded. Everything is just as she expected. She won everything. She wanted fame and money. Her husband, who had seen her true self, could not escape the temptation of money and never mentioned the exposure. Even though they slept in separate rooms and locked the door every night, he still chose to continue to be a celebrity couple under the spotlight with her. But if she were to choose again, would she choose to have parents who loved her, a happy childhood and family, or would she want to win everything this way? Amy, what do you think? Chapter 260 Giadao's Cabin in the Forest. I choose to have parents who love me, a happy childhood and family. Magical Amy murmured, "You still have the opportunity to choose now." Juno smiled and said, "As long as you want." "What should I do?" Magical Amy looked at Juno eagerly. "This vanishing lover is the turning point of your life." Juno smiled and said, "When the time comes, it will be published under your name. You don't have to kill spare tires for many years, intimidate your future husband, and spend so much effort to become famous. As long as you want, in a few months, you will be the real Magical Amy. This Magical Amy is not the one in your parents' book, but just you." "In my name?" Magical Amy was stunned. "Yes." Juno looked at her. "You don't want to?" "Yes, yes." Magical Amy nodded first, then hesitated and said, "But the plot of designing the ex-boyfriend's strength? Of course it must be kept." Juno said playfully, "This plot is very important. It proves that the male protagonist is not the first victim. It is an important part of sublimating the image of the heroine." "Okay." Magical Amy bowed her head slightly. "Don't worry." Juno narrowed his eyes. "Once it is released, controversy is a good thing. At that time, we can use the banner of speaking for women to make all men treat women with caution. We women are usually very weak, but when we are really pushed hard, we are afraid of being cruel." Magical Amy looked up and looked at Juno with some surprise and expectation. "This entry point is really interesting. As for your framing of your ex-boyfriend," Juno smiled and said, "you can say that it was because of this incident that prompted you to have the idea of writing this book. Imagine if your ex-boyfriend had read this book, would he still dare to rape you? And at that time, even if you go to court, you will not be afraid. He has no money and you have money. You are naturally invincible, and you can continue to increase the popularity and enhance your fame. As long as your inner monologue is not known to the world, there will be no problem at all. At this point, Juno looked at Magical Amy with a smile. Magical Amy suddenly remembered the inner monologue that she had revealed before when she was stimulated, and her face turned pale. She is not stupid, and she can guess that Juno has probably recorded it. And these are all advantages. Is there no disadvantage at all? Of course not. The heroine in the book is simply a replica of her, and many details can be found in comparison. Once she becomes popular in the future, the ex-boyfriend who was framed by her will definitely expose the news and even sue her. Rich versus poor, winning the lawsuit is a sure thing. But will the world see her like this? This is just a novel, purely imaginary. Don't be kidding. By then, no one will dare to get close to such a ruthless woman. It will simply be a kind of social death. Really give it to me? Wonderful Amy suppressed the shock in her heart, still a little unbelievable in her eyes. Once this book The Vanishing Lover is released, it will definitely be a hit with the explosive real events as a gimmick, and it is very suitable for adaptation into a movie, and the profits from it are huge. Money makes the world go round, and social death can also be revived. The fame is yours, Juno said with a smile, but most of the proceeds must be donated. Since our banner is to speak for women, we naturally have to take action, so that our reputation will be even greater. Even if only a small part of the proceeds belongs to you, it is not a small amount. Wonderful Amy's face froze. She knew that Juno could not leave such a big loophole. For the next whole day, Juno held a scalpel in one hand and a carrot in the other, constantly training Wonderful Amy. Heather was stunned. Under her gaze, Wonderful Amy's eyes looking at Juno gradually became similar to Karen's. Karen was jealous, but Juno had given her a heads up in advance, so she couldn't say anything. She could only sulk with a grudge on her lips. Finally, Juno stopped dripping the sedative, and waited until Wonderful Amy completely regained control of her body. He held the scalpel in one hand and opened his pocket with the other hand, and smiled. What is your choice? This is a classic action in prison. Choosing to pull the other person's pocket means being willing to be the other person's bitch, and it also means complete surrender. Magical Amy was taller than Juno, but she squatted down without hesitation, grabbed Juno's trouser pocket, and even knelt down to kiss Juno's shoe surface, then raised her head and looked at Juno with admiration. Very good, Juno nodded and smiled. Magical Amy also smiled happily. But the next second, her smile froze there. She reached out to cover her throat, and looked at Juno in horror and confusion. You're acting too much. Juno shook the scalpel. Magical Amy looked at Juno with resentment, fell heavily to the ground, twitching, and died with eyes open dozens of seconds later. What happened? This incident happened too quickly and suddenly, and Heather was completely confused. I failed. Juno sighed. Magic Amy is worthy of being Magic Amy. She progressed too fast. It was us who opened the door to a new world for her, allowing her to evolve into the final Magic Amy in the book in advance. She is impossible to be convinced. I am still too confident. You mean she was acting before? Heather said in disbelief. But her eyes are exactly the same as the way Karen looks at you. That's why I dare not keep her, Juno said sadly. Originally, I planned to control her with both soft and hard methods, and then let her go back. In the future, I will come to train her every week, and rely on time to finally let her completely change into the one we want. But in just 2 days, she even deceived you. I only asked her to pull her pockets to show submission, but she actually knelt down and kissed the upper of my shoes. If she was really successfully trained by me, she shouldn't have this extra action, because it looks more like submission, but it also means that she has her own thoughts. But what if she is really convinced by you? Heather hesitated. No. Juno shook her head and said, the time is too short. If it were an ordinary person, it would be fine. But she is Wonderful Amy, an outstanding graduate of Harvard School of Psychology. It is impossible for her to change so much. There is another reason. That is her intuition. Wonderful Amy made rapid progress in desperate situations. She acted very well and naturally. Even the eyes, the windows of the soul, can deceive people, but Juno's keen intuition kept warning her, and the look in Wonderful Amy's eyes at the end also told her clearly, her intuition is never wrong. In fact, it is true. After experiencing several desperate blows, Wonderful Amy did not sink. Instead, her talent was stimulated. She followed Juno's thoughts and acted quietly. Compared with the script provided by Juno, she prefers to create her own script. Once she gets out, this is her legendary story. When she pulled Juno's pocket, the reason why she knelt down and kissed the upper of the shoe was to express a deeper sense of submission. More importantly, she used this action to cover up and adjust the uncontrollable ecstasy when she thought she succeeded. It's a pity that talent is not as good as supernatural power. Juno saw through her and ended her life with a sudden throat slash in a dramatic way, just like in Gone Girl, when she seduced the spare tire to drive, and when he was enjoying himself, he suddenly slashed his throat. It was so sudden and terrible. This kind of cold humor is full of irony. At the moment of death, she felt it. And then there was a monstrous anger, which condensed into the last glimmer of brilliance in her eyes. Chapter 261 Guardian, New York, Duncan's apartment. Ding-ling-ling, the phone rang. Never mind it. Octopus Max didn't let Adam answer the phone. Don't make a fuss. Adam stood up with Octopus Max and picked up the phone. Hello, it's me. Is it convenient? Juno's voice came from the other end of the phone, and her tone was different from usual. Wait a minute. Adam's heart moved, and he took Octopus Max off, reached out and held down Max, who was smiling and rushing over, warned her with his eyes, and walked out of the bedroom. In the study, tell me, what's wrong? Adam said in a deep voice after locking the door. Are you still writing that manuscript? Juno asked. Still. Adam's heart tightened. Delete it. Juno sighed and said, forget it. Adam was shocked and silent for a moment. Are you sure? Sure. Juno gave an affirmative answer. Got it. Adam had already guessed something in his heart, so he naturally didn't say anything. However, before hanging up the phone, he couldn't help but call her, Juno. Huh? Juno was startled. Be safe. Adam had a lot to say, but in the end, it was just one sentence. Hee hee. Juno was silent for a moment, and then hung up the phone with laughter. Hee hee. Feeling the joy in Juno's laughter, Adam couldn't help but laugh, and the shock and haze in his heart were swept away. It's enough to have a bosom friend in life. Turning on the computer, flipping through the nearly 200,000 word Lost Lover, looking at the terrifying and magical Amy in it, Adam was moved by Juno and filled his whole body. This matter had nothing to do with Juno from beginning to end, but she did this for him. How lucky he was. After deleting the manuscript in the computer, removing the hard drive, and physically destroying it, Adam returned to the bedroom and hugged Max tightly in his arms. Max originally wanted to drive around, but after feeling the strength of Adam's arm and the special emotions that permeated him, he lay motionless in his arms, not saying a single venomous joke, quietly appreciating the warmth of this moment. At night, oh, come on, Chandler was brought by Adam to a club. After seeing the dazzling figure, he immediately shouted, "Is this what you call donating to the poor who can't go to college?" Yes. Adam hugged him, not letting him go, and sat down beside the stage. Many of them are students who can't afford tuition. Shouldn't we do some charity? But what does this have to do with Kathy? Chandler said dissatisfiedly. Of course it has something to do with it. Adam smiled and said, scientific experiments have proven that the average male brain can only store a certain number of indescribable images, and your brain is now completely occupied by Kathy, so you are so impulsive. What we have to do now is to let your brain store as many new indescribable images as possible, dilute or even replace Kathy's, and then you will find out how ridiculous your previous thoughts that it must be her are. Really? Chandler doubted. You don't have to believe me, but you have to believe in science, Adam said seriously. Okay. Chandler actually wanted to get rid of Casey's influence, so he had no choice but to believe Adam. He looked over embarrassedly, and then his eyes widened. The dancers here may not be the most beautiful, but they must have good figures, and their dancing is professional and eye-catching, which is enough for men. Not to mention Chandler, even Adam was watching with relish. After watching for a while, Adam glanced at Chandler, who was stunned by the incredible dancing of the dancers, and laughed secretly. This kind of club is legal in the United States. Joey, Barney, and Howard are all frequent visitors here. Even Penny, Bernadette, Amy and others have come in. Of course, Monica is also included. Just watching the performance is actually nothing. In How I Met Your Mother, Lily has a doppelganger, who looks exactly the same. Who is the dancer here? Lily also paid to exchange identities with her and ran on the stage to dance. If this can weaken Chandler's crazy obsession with Kathy, it would be a great deal. Otherwise, Adam has no other good ideas. You can't persuade Chandler to really show his love in person, right? No matter how nice and touching the story is, it can't change the bad nature. As for introducing him to a girlfriend, seeing how he is now, he is not in the mood to talk. Therefore, Adam can only hope that the maxim theory of the great scientist Barney Stinson can really work. As long as it has a little effect, Chandler can wait until Joey and Kathy break up. Although he still doesn't approve of Chandler and Kathy's relationship. Even if they break up, it's enough for Joey. Joey doesn't mind. Here, Adam stuffed a pocket of $1 bills into Chandler's pocket. Don't just look, you have to give a tip. This is polite and polite. Chandler held a pile of bills, not knowing whether to laugh or cry, and his expression was extremely tangled. The dancer had already noticed the movement here, and with a sliding footstep, she had come to Chandler, dancing in various postures. Chandler had no choice but to follow the others and stuff banknotes into the dancers' pockets. In the next few weeks, Adam helped Chandler fight his inner demons while keeping an eye on wonderful Amy. As expected, there were reports about this in the newspapers. Wonderful Amy was missing. Her parents found out a week ago that they couldn't contact her, and called the police. The police had no clues at all. Wonderful Amy disguised herself so well that she was surrounded by friends and no enemies. As a result, they couldn't identify the suspect at all, and couldn't even determine the last time she disappeared, let alone the motive. Wonderful Amy's parents mobilized public opinion to force the police to solve the case, but there were too many such unsolved cases every year, and after a while, they gradually dispersed. Unless new clues emerge, the police's unsolved case files will only have one more box of files. The police force is limited, and no one will take the initiative to investigate anything again, and no one can think of the story behind it. Wonderful Amy would not take the initiative to talk about her dark side, and her parents didn't know or pay attention to it. How could they have thought that she would have evil thoughts about Adam, and then be attacked in advance by Juno and others? Juno and the others' timing and methods were very clever, and did not arouse any association at all, because they had no motive at all. Although Adam did not know the details, he had guessed the whole story from the news that Magic Amy's parents had settled in New York. Compared with writing a novel to expose Magic Amy's possible revenge methods in advance, eliminating the threat as much as possible, this kind of complete disappearance is naturally more beneficial to Adam. He is even more grateful to Juno. In such a dangerous American TV world, having a guardian who is willing to take the initiative to do this for you is simply a gift from God. Chapter 262 Chief Best Man 1998. Since the end of the story of Amazing Amy, time seems to have been fast-forwarded. In the blink of an eye, more than 3 years have passed. Adam is about to graduate from medical school. Looking back on these 3 years, what makes Adam most emotional is that he has become Chandler's best man. Soon he will stand beside the groom Chandler at the altar of the church and hand him the wedding ring at the right time. That's right, the bride is still Monica. Even if there is Adam, the butterfly, the storm is strong enough, but the thread of fate tightly entangles the two of them, so that they still come together. Among Ross, Joey and Adam, Chandler chose Adam as the best man without hesitation. This once made Ross and Joey very dissatisfied. But when Chandler told everyone about the little things Adam had done for him over the years, everyone was shocked. If you don't count, you don't know, but if you count, you will be shocked. Ross and Joey also put aside their dissatisfaction and admired them sincerely. Adam felt a little weird, especially when he thought about what Nora's expression would be when he stood next to Chandler on the wedding day. Of course, he readily agreed. Being the best man is definitely an honor and the greatest recognition of the groom. No one would refuse. If you ask Chandler about Kathy now, he probably won't be able to react for a while, and even asks back, "Who is Kathy?" The woman who made him extremely obsessed and almost hurt the feelings of Joey and his brothers, with the help of Adam, survived this disaster in advance. Going to the club to donate to poor girls only played a delaying role. What really changed Chandler's mentality was that Adam took him to see Kathy's small theater. When he saw Kathy and the handsome actor on the stage, almost 18 plus, Chandler was not feeling well. For Joey, who is also an actor and can also play with other actresses, acting according to the situation is not a problem. But for Chandler, who is not a professional, it is really unacceptable to see the woman he likes and other handsome guys doing this in public. When asking Joey about his opinion on the matter in a roundabout way, Joey gave his own self-deceiving statement: "The more devoted you are on stage, the less likely you are to be together in reality." Adam scoffed at this. Actors fall in love because of the play, and they do not make the fake play real. Chandler did not believe Joey's words, and his feelings for Casey were immediately greatly reduced. And the facts also proved that Joey was indeed a latecomer and only had a half knowledge of acting. Casey did not get together with Chandler, but cheated with her boyfriend in the play. Although Joey was a little hurt this time, it was completely different from the situation in which Chandler hurt him in the original Time and Space, and he quickly forgot about it, because Joey was not a good person either. When he was in love with Casey, he also hooked up with other women. It's really hard to say who is cheating on whom. The beginning of Chandler and Monica is still the second wedding of Ross, the married man. The bride is Emily, who has an aristocratic style and British accent that fascinates Americans. The two of them got together thanks to Rachel, and then Emily was soon dragged into the ditch by the marriage hero Ross. The marriage hero Ross proposed to Emily successfully, saying that if they felt right, why not get married? The wedding of the two was held in Emily's hometown of London, and everyone flew there. Then Rachel, who is worthy of being a perfect match with Ross, made trouble again as usual, and tried her best to overcome all difficulties to tell Ross about her sudden feelings. As for whether she wanted to get back together with Ross after telling him, the funny thing is that she really didn't have this idea. It's just that the feeling came. How can I not say it out? We have to be responsible for our own hearts. Well, it feels a bit ridiculous that you took off your pants and showed me this. Fortunately, when she arrived, she saw the scene of the bride and groom hugging each other tenderly, and she held back at the last moment. But she held back, and Ross started to make trouble again. During the "you do, I do, we will live together till old age" segment of the wedding, Ross called out Rachel's name to the bride Emily. As you can imagine, the embarrassing scene at that time. In the fantasy world, this is comparable to the shame of breaking off an engagement. However, the bride Emily did not leave on the spot, nor did she shout out the slogan 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. Don't bully a young woman who is poor. She just looked at Ross with a dark face and smiled and went through the process again, and then accompanied him to complete the wedding ceremony. True love. Of course, Ross didn't think about the bridal chamber. After the wedding ceremony, the bride Emily ran away. At this time, Chandler and Monica, who had already secretly hooked up, were eager to find a room, but they were always destroyed by others. Thinking that the new house was already decorated and not to waste, they almost completed the love affair in the new house. Then, Ross, who couldn't find the bride, came back and said that he would wait for her in the new house. Others haven't seen it yet, but how could Adam not see it? She said she was going to take Max out to play and would not be back at night, and gave the room to the two who were almost suffocated after going around in circles. After the wedding, Chandler and Monica had a secret relationship for a year. First, they had not thought about how to tell everyone. Second, the secret relationship was so exciting. In this life, Adam helped train Chandler for more than a year. Even if Chandler did not have an indestructible kidney like Adam, his physical fitness was completely incomparable to the original Time and Space. Coupled with Monica's customization skills, Chandler's own talent, and the excitement of the secret relationship, if they were in the martial arts world, the two of them would be able to master the sword and palm in an instant. This situation naturally cannot be kept secret forever. In fact, if it was not too unexpected, The two of them would have known about it long ago. A year later, Ross was the last to know. Then Chandler and Monica finally made it public and received everyone's blessings. Another year later, after divorcing his ex-wife Emily, Ross, the marriage hero, got drunk and got married to Rachel, and then divorced her, which confirmed his nickname of marriage hero or divorce hero. Chandler finally proposed. This time, with Adam watching, Chandler naturally would not play the stupid trick of first suppressing and then praising, and proposed honestly. Monica, who has a special feeling for marriage, naturally agreed without hesitation and immediately entered the wedding preparations with 200 times more energy. In the past few years, Chandler has done very well in the advertising industry, with a good income and considerable savings. Even if Monica's parents spent her wedding money, Chandler can still give Monica a perfect A-level wedding. Chapter 263 Criticizing Adam, New York, 520. Adam, are you sure you don't have a female companion? Monica asked. Sure, Adam said speechlessly. I've said it 100 times. I just want to confirm it again. Monica pinned a blue tack on the wedding banquet planning board. Let me tell you, once the seats are decided, you can't invite a female companion even if you want to. I know. Adam smiled and said, even if I find a new female companion during this period, I will definitely not invite her to avoid affecting your seating arrangement. Okay? Okay. Monica nodded in satisfaction. Adam, you are so romantic, Rachel complained. No matter how good a girlfriend is, she can't tie you down. Yeah, Phoebe echoed. Max is so cool, how could you bear to break up with her? I am a cloud, a free cloud. Adam smiled. Wherever the wind blows, I will float there. I won't land unless I encounter cold air. Even if you encounter cold air, it will turn into rain and fall to the ground. When the sun shines and the air gets hot, you will fly up again and start to float freely again. Monica looked down on him. Isn't that right? A bride is a bride. She has different perceptions of marriage, love, freedom and other things. Adam smiled non-committally. Very insightful. Seriously, Phoebe said dissatisfiedly, why did you break up with Max? Because of the scumbag, Rachel complained. A criticism meeting. Adam pulled the corner of his mouth and stood up and said, I can't stay here anymore. Chandler, let's go. I'll take you to choose a dress. Okay. Chandler cooperated decisively, but still asked Monica for permission. You don't need to tell me this. You are free to go wherever you want and do whatever you want. Monica looked at everyone a little embarrassed, and then secretly said to Chandler, you can go. Adam looked at this scene with amusement. He had seen too many similar classic scenes in his previous life. After traveling through time, even if they were as loving as his parents, they had never gotten along like this. Only Monica, who had a strong personality, made Adam see this familiar scene again. Ask your girlfriend or wife for permission before you can act. Why does this happen? It's very simple. According to Sheldon's theory, hard feedback is a more effective training method than positive feedback. It's commonly known as, you are greedy for someone's body. If you dare not listen, you won't be allowed to go to bed. This method is too useful during the passionate love period and the first few years of marriage. Adam took Chandler away. But the topic did not end. Adam's criticism meeting continued. The main force was Phoebe and Rachel, who complained about Adam's romanticism in various ways, which was a pity for Max. Don't get excited. They broke up peacefully and Max never blamed him. Monica said something fair. That's because Max is a good person. Phoebe said indignantly. It makes Adam seem even more heartless and ungrateful. Adam is indeed a bit of a scumbag. But to say he is heartless and ungrateful is an exaggeration. Monica explained. He and Max made it very clear at the beginning that they were just more than friends and less than lovers. They were very happy together afterwards. Adam also helped her go to college for further studies. Last year, Max graduated and he gave her a high-paying job, allowing her to realize her dream and completely changing her life. But Max wants to get closer to Adam. Rachel interrupted. Isn't this a reasonable request? Indeed, it is reasonable. Monica nodded, but Adam also has the right to refuse. He doesn't want to settle down now. Do we have to force him to settle down? And can Adam settle down? Max has figured it out a long time ago. With Adam's animal-like body, even if he gets closer to her, he won't be able to settle down. Sooner or later, he will cheat. Ending it early like this may not be a bad thing for Max. Is Adam really that animal? Phoebe and Rachel got excited when they heard this. I heard it from Max, Monica said a little embarrassedly. You know Max. He is generous and straightforward, and dares to say anything. It should not be a lie. And Chandler and I run with him every morning. No matter how we run, he never gets red in the face or out of breath. His physical fitness is incredible. Phoebe and Rachel were both a little absent-minded, and they didn't know what they were thinking. After the breakup, except for the initial unhappiness, Max was actually relieved. Monica continued, they really broke up peacefully. Otherwise, with Max's personality, how could he continue to work for Adam without any grudges? It's not easy to find a high-paying job, Phoebe said enviously. Speaking of this, she really envied Max. The experiences of the two are actually very similar. They both had an unfortunate childhood and then came out to mix in society early. In the past, Max was just a small waiter, and she was at least a skilled masseur, and she was better than Max in all aspects. But more than 3 years have passed. Max suddenly changed herself, went to college and became an artist. Adam even opened a small book production company for her. She had a high income and a high status, just like a sparrow turning into a phoenix. And she was still a masseuse. It was impossible to say that there was no psychological gap. Max is not that kind of person. Monica reminded, that kind of happiness from the heart can't be faked. I know, Phoebe reacted immediately, put away her sourness, and covered it up. I just feel sorry for Max. I'm really curious about what Adam's future wife will be like. Rachel suddenly laughed. It's very likely that he won't get married at all. Monica thought for a moment and said, he has a tendency not to get married. He's so rich, so handsome, and his body is so good. Maybe he will join other nationalities and marry many wives in the future. Phoebe complained, then let them all wear masks so that other men can't see them. Monica said speechlessly, isn't there only one place in the world where you can marry many wives, and wear masks so that other men can't see them? Come on, you think too highly of him. Rachel smiled and said, don't think he looks like an animal now, but that's because he is young and must be playful. When he gets older and wants to start a family, do you think he can still be as powerful as he is now, and marry many wives? By then, he will be lucky to keep one. The reason why monogamy has become a universal value is that it protects not only women, but men are also protected. Ha ha ha, Rachel is right. Phoebe laughed as soon as she heard it. Monica also smiled, with an expression of agreement. There are many asymmetric wars between men and women. Although Monica and her friends don't know classic sayings such as youth is ignorance, old age brings tears, and there are only cows that die of exhaustion, but no land that is plowed. But they know similar meanings and have fully verified them in various relationships, and they have always received positive answers. This is the source of their confidence. In terms of heart, women are always the final winners. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 264, Luziabu's True Self. New York, in a high-end custom-made suit shop. It doesn't have to be like this, does it? Chandler opened his hands and let the tailor measure him, complaining, the last time Joey asked me to make a suit, the process was not very friendly. Don't worry. Adam stood by and looked at it, and couldn't help laughing. This is the most professional, not the prison tailor branch. No one will bend Mr. Big. I hope so. Chandler curled his lips. 5 years ago, he once wanted to make a suit, and Joey recommended him to the tailor shop that Joey's family often went to. Then, when measuring the size, the tailor measured too carefully, which confused Chandler. After going back and asking, he found that Joey also measured in this way, and he took it for granted that this was the most professional. When Joey learned that this was the only way to measure in prison, his face was distorted. You know, I haven't ordered a custom suit since then. Chandler was still a little uncomfortable. Why not just rent a celebrity-worn suit from Rachel? It's convenient, cool, and saves money. Don't worry about the money. Adam smiled and said, as your chief best man, Giving you a suit is still a small thing. What's so good about a suit worn by a celebrity? It's just a gimmick, and it's not hygienic. Do you want to challenge Monica's cleanliness at this time? It's not that exaggerated. Chandler also knew that Adam was already a billionaire and didn't need this little money at all. Besides, he was not Ross, the marriage hero, and he only planned to get married once in his life. Therefore, it was nothing to accept Adam's kindness once. Those clothes have also been specially treated. Are you sure? Adam smiled playfully. I heard that many of those clothes are kept in their original state. This is the only way to attract fans to pay for a rental. You are not a die-hard fan, and you are not going to extract the residual DNA on the clothes to clone a new idol. Why do you rent that? Chandler shuddered and said in disbelief, does anyone really do that? This is the United States. Adam smiled and said, there is nothing impossible except what you can't think of. In the future, in order to thank Sheldon, Penny asked him for a celebrity-signed napkin and wiped her mouth with it. Originally, Penny was a little embarrassed that the napkin was dirty, but Sheldon held the napkin as if it were a holy object, because if biotechnology was more advanced, he could use the residual DNA on it to clone a celebrity of his own. This was one of the best gifts he had ever received, so much so that he stuffed all the gift baskets into Penny and gave her a very awkward hug. Penny was shocked and shouted to Leonard to look. Leonard also exclaimed that this was a miracle, because Sheldon hated skin contact with people the most, not to mention hugging. Even shaking hands was very rare. After every handshake, he immediately washed his hands with hand sanitizer, with a disgusted face worried about being infected. It is conceivable how important celebrity mouth-wiping napkins are to Sheldon. Okay. After the tailor finished measuring, he nodded to Adam. Hurry up. My friend is getting married in 4 weeks, and we must not delay it, Adam warned. Yes, we must not delay it. At this time, a figure came over, put his arm around Adam's shoulder, and warned him seriously, this is my brother's wedding. Got it. The tailor smiled and agreed, and walked in. So, guys, where is the bachelor party going to be held? Do you need me to contact the strippers? I'm telling you, I know a few people with great skills who can make the bachelor night a legendary night. Give me a high five. Nice tilde. The figure kept saying this, and Chandler was stunned. He was stunned when the other party raised his hand and gave him a high five. Who are you? Chandler was stunned. You don't even recognize me? The man looked unhappy and walked up to Chandler and hugged him. I'm Barney. Forget it. Since it's your day, I won't blame you. Tell me, how were our bachelor nights planned? Let me tell you, I will never allow my brother's bachelor nights to be so boring. If anyone can't do it, just let me know and I'll take care of it. I'm the chief best man. I'm in charge. Adam had already recognized who the man who suddenly appeared was, and smiled. But I can tell you for sure, our bachelor night will not have strippers or those weird activities, so you won't like it. So don't pretend. You know him? Chandler breathed a sigh of relief. I don't know him. Adam smiled. But I know people like him. They love to hang out at bachelor parties. They don't care whether they know the groom or not. They even sneak into weddings to pick up bridesmaids. Doesn't it sound familiar? Joey. Chandler shouted. He's the same as Joey. Joey Tribbiani? Barney Stinson was originally smiling at Adam as he exposed his identity. He had encountered this situation too many times and was already familiar with how to deal with it. But when he heard Joey's name, his face changed. That actor? You know him? Adam's eyes lit up. Oh, of course I know him. Barney tightened his tie with his hands, his eyes flickering, and his tone exaggerated. He has stolen a lot of girls from me. He is my biggest rival. Barney Stinson. Since you're his friends, haven't you heard him mention me? No. Chandler shook his head. I've been roommates with him for so many years, and I've never heard him mention me. How dare he? Barney covered his chest with his hands, took a few steps back, and shouted in disbelief. This is the biggest humiliation. Give him a message, Joey Tribbiani. The game has begun. After that, he pointed his index and middle fingers at his eyes, gestured to Adam and Chandler a few times, and walked away in a cool manner, leaving only Chandler with a confused face and Adam who couldn't help laughing. What happened? Did we run into a psycho? No. Adam laughed. He's a very interesting person, but I didn't expect he knew Joey. Well, It's normal for them to know each other. It would be strange if they didn't. I can't help but go back and ask Joey. Okay. Chandler twitched his lips. But he won't really show up at my bachelor party, will he? No, Adam said firmly. I don't care about other people's bachelor parties, but he will definitely not show up at yours. Are you kidding? This guy is Liu Xiaobu himself. Liu Xiaobu's bad behavior of ruining Zhang Wei's wedding was imitated from him. Chandler is not Zhang Wei, Monica is not Zili, and Adam is not Zhang Xiaoxian. Barney will never be allowed to sabotage. Chapter 265 Who will I sleep with tonight? Chandler apartment. Barney Stinson. Joey frowned when he heard it. How do you know him? We met at the tailor shop. Adam briefly introduced him, and then gossiped. How long have you known him? Why didn't you tell us? He's just a little brat. Joey pouted. I met him a few times when I was picking up girls. He was very arrogant and didn't respect me as a senior at all. I taught him a few lessons and stole a few of his female companions to let him know that Joey Tribbiani is the most handsome guy in New York. No wonder he has that expression. Chandler suddenly realized. You taught him a lesson. Adam doubted. It's hard to say about handsomeness, but he looks much more sophisticated than you, and he looks rich. How did you steal his female companion? Joey was speechless. The reason why he never mentioned Barney Stinson to Adam and others was because although the other party was a rising star, his routines were too sophisticated, and he was particularly willing to spend money to support those routines, so that except for the beginning when he had the advantage, he was almost beaten by Barney later. Of course, he would not mention such a shameful thing. Of course, Joey said stubbornly, he has money and tricks. But I am a big star, soap opera star. Adam reminded. In the past few years, Joey's development trajectory is similar to that of the original Time and Space. He has starred in several soap operas and is not very popular, but at least his income has increased, and it is not in vain for all these years of hard work. What's wrong with soap opera stars? Joey said dissatisfiedly. Young women love soap opera stars the most, you know? After saying this, he began to wink again. So, you specialize in young women and housewives who like to watch soap operas. Adam teased. And Barney wants them all? I get annoyed when I talk about this, Joey said unhappily. Barney, this bastard, likes to challenge everything. What age, what type, what style, he wants to try one by one, and then he shows off in various ways, as if he is the king of the New York pickup world. Didn't he deliberately create a crown for the king of the New York pickup world? Adam asked curiously. How did you know? Joey asked in surprise. Whether we paid attention to him or not, he really did it. He was so proud of himself and so arrogant. Chandler twitched the corner of his mouth, looked at Adam, and said seriously, he must not be allowed to attend my bachelor party. Don't worry, Adam smiled, with me here, he will never ruin your bachelor party. And there's also the wedding, Chandler said with lingering fear. The most important thing is the wedding. I'll take care of everything, Adam promised. What? Joey's eyes widened and he shouted. Barney is going to attend Chandler's bachelor party and wedding? Originally it was impossible, Adam complained, but seeing the complicated relationship between you two and his personality, he will probably come to mess things up. We have nothing to do with each other. Joey shook his head and said, I don't want to have anything to do with him at all. He's a lunatic. Really? Adam said playfully. I always thought you would be good friends. Oh, no, the best partners. Come on. Joey rolled his eyes. Would you become good friends with a guy who specializes in stealing your female companion? Adam was speechless. Although the idea of wingman partnership is always mentioned when picking up girls, it is when one is strong and the other is weak. One is the host and the other is the wingman, and the tasks are clear. For example, Liu Xiaobu likes to take Zhang Wei as his wingman, Barney likes to take Matthew and Ted as his wingman. The resources of beautiful women are limited. Everyone likes a big beauty when they meet one, but one person has to give up, right? When one is strong and the other is weak, the weak wingman knows what's going on and automatically gives up, covering the main bombing, if necessary. They will perish together with the enemy, so that there will be no conflict. Moreover, flowers need green leaves to set off, and a weak wingman can also make the main strong host look more handsome and extraordinary. This is the same as beautiful women always like to be girlfriends with girls who are much worse than her. It's all routine. Joey and Barney seem to have similar temperaments and should be good friends, but they are both top predators, but they can't get along with each other. They each have their own range of activities. Once they meet, they will have conflicts and attack each other. Moreover, Joey is already 30 years old, and Barney looks like he is only 24 or 25 years old. The age difference of 5 or 6 years is almost a generation gap, but not everyone is like Adam, who can deal with people in their 30s and 40s, people in their 20s, and boys and girls in their teens. After understanding these, Adam will not be surprised. It's getting late. I'll go back first. Adam raised his hand to check the time and stood up. You're about to graduate. You must be very busy during this period, right? Chandler said apologetically. Nothing. Adam smiled and said, the two most important exams in the 4 years of medical school are the USMLE. I passed Step 1 in my sophomore year, and Step 2 in my junior year last year with a high score. As for the residency training after graduation, I have been assigned to the medical center, so compared to others, I still have plenty of time. It's no problem for me to be your best man. Don't worry. That's good. Chandler breathed a sigh of relief. Since Adam entered medical school, as a good friend, he has a better understanding of the situation of medical students. He was particularly impressed by the busyness of medical students. If possible, he would rather change the time to get married so as not to affect Adam's graduation, but Adam told him that this period is relatively free. Once he graduated and entered the hospital for residency training, he would be really busy, and he would be busy in a way that he could not control. When studying in medical school, the study time can still be controlled. At most, he would stay up late. But when you get to the hospital, you have to strictly follow the hospital's rules and regulations. In the first year of several years of residency training, because I was a rookie who couldn't be more inexperienced, I was not even a resident, but an intern. Being on call at the hospital for 36 hours is no joke. Therefore, getting married during this period is definitely a good thing for Adam, the chief best man. If he delays any longer, not to mention Chandler, even if he gets married himself, he probably won't have time to participate in the whole process. Near the medical center, a high-rise luxury apartment. After Adam left, he drove here. That's right, he changed his apartment. This place is very close to where he will work in the future, which is very convenient for interns with tight schedules. Chandler and Monica are about to get married, and it's not far from them moving out of the apartment, so Adam doesn't need to live there anymore. Back to the beautifully decorated luxury apartment. After washing up, Adam lay on the big bed, thought about it, picked up the phone, and dialed a number. Chapter 266. Adam, who was standing on the 5th floor and had made the phone call, fell into recollection. The breakup with Max happened 2 years ago. The reason for the breakup was very old-fashioned. Max wanted to take the next step, but after Adam saw Heather and recognized himself again, he had no such idea at all. Sometimes relationships are like this. If you don't move forward, you will regress. Seeing Adam's firm attitude, Max chose to withdraw. Adam did not try to keep him, because he had no reason to keep him. He also had no intention of trying to keep him. The theory of being more than friends but less than lovers cannot withstand the erosion of time. The longer time goes, the easier it is for this theory to collapse. Either you get tired of it, or you fall in love. Love grows over time, and it is not just talk. Max was such a free and easy female driver, but after more than a year of living with Adam day and night, she gradually became less free and easy. The years between Adam and Heather are also proof of this. Therefore, breaking up at the right time is a necessary talent for a good scumbag. Of course, it is impossible for Adam to stay alone in an empty room for such a long time after breaking up with Max. That is very un-American. In addition to going to Texas to see Heather every month, Adam still has someone to communicate with. 10 minutes later, the doorbell of the apartment rang. Adam looked through the cat's eye, and his eyes were dazzled as always, and he immediately opened the door. There used to be a saying of blue-blooded aristocrats in Europe and America. In the past, aristocrats often proudly rolled up their sleeves to show the blue veins clearly visible on their snow-white forearms. which was called blue blood. Because they did not engage in physical labor, their skin was as white as snow, and the aristocrats showed that they were fundamentally different from the dark-skinned workers. Later, with the advent of the Industrial Revolution, workers were driven into factories, working day and night, without seeing the sun, and they became white one by one. Those aristocrats began to regard wheat color as beautiful, because they had money and leisure to often go out to bask in the sun and become wheat color. Still, to distinguish themselves from the general public, Adam would not be so pretentious. He has always liked white. The whiteness that flashed people's eyes seemed like white jade, which made him love it even more, because the culture of the Eastern Kingdom and his previous life always influenced him, such as the martial arts novels he read when he was a child, the Jade People, Jade Girls, Jade Arms, etc., all made people have endless reverie at a glance. The person who came was amazingly white. If it wasn't Alice, then who else could it be? Neither of them spoke. After closing the door with their feet, the dim lights of the specially decorated room began to flicker in a unique rhythm. The night was so beautiful. An hour later, "Have you decided on the hospital you were assigned to?" Adam said casually. "Stephen said he helped me get it, also in the surgery department of the medical center," Alice said lazily. "He's so nice to you." Adam smiled. "Where's your real boyfriend William?" "Don't talk nonsense." Alice frowned and said, "William is not my real boyfriend. We are not in a relationship." "He doesn't think so." Adam's mouth curled up. It can be seen that he is very proud of winning the competition with Stephen. No matter how proud he is, can he be prouder than you? Alice was a little embarrassed. "Haha." Adam smiled proudly. During the 4 years of medical school, as competitors, Adam, Stephen, and William were more or less dirty, especially William, who had been jealous of Adam because of Heather and the trip to Las Vegas. Adam's senses are very sharp, and of course he can see that the relationship between the two can be imagined. Alice is powerful and has taken Stephen and William as her wings. Both of them fell in love with her at first sight. William is handsome and Stephen is rich, which is very attractive to her. Although she knows that Stephen can help her more, she is still young and values appearance more, so she gets closer to William in secret. But for Stephen's help, she is determined not to be open with William. Although William is angry, Alice confesses to him directly that she is the one who came in through the back door, so naturally she can't say much, and can only keep silent about the underground relationship. After a long time, he got used to it and felt the benefits of this underground relationship. Exciting. Whenever he stood next to Stephen, his heart was full of superiority. "Little guy, what if you are rich?" "Alice chose me." The same is true when looking at Adam's eyes. He felt that Adam had poor taste. He hung out with Iliad and Bianca every day. Even if they were put together, they couldn't compare to Alice's long legs. When he was with Alice, he often complained about Stephen and Adam like this, to praise Alice and to vent his pride. Juno said, "Who doesn't talk behind others' backs? Who doesn't talk behind others' backs?" Ju said, "Privacy yields to deeper privacy." Adam knew this very well, because not long after breaking up with Max, Adam and William had an argument and chose to reason with Alice. As expected, Alice and Adam were very reasonable. The reason was simple. Adam had good looks, money and a good body. He was simply a comprehensive mutation and evolution of Stephen and William. If Adam hadn't had no intention of falling in love and clearly said that they were just friends who helped each other, she would definitely kick Stephen and William out at the first opportunity. Ren Shuzu said, "Women don't love men who are not bad." Adam was such a scumbag, and she wanted to break off the relationship with him, but she couldn't help but run over to him as soon as Adam called her. Then, their relationship became more secretive. They often talked about the unknown audience on the first floor, Stephen on the second floor, William on the third floor, and Alice on the fourth floor. Of course, it was mainly Adam on the fifth floor who took the initiative to talk about it. Therefore, Adam completely understood William's mentality. Whenever William showed him a proud and reserved smile, Adam always smiled without saying anything. This reduced a lot of conflicts and eased their relationship. William has also decided to go to the medical center, but he chose internal medicine. Alice couldn't do anything about Adam, but she still instinctively leaned towards Adam, followed Adam's temperament, and took the initiative to talk about the gossip that Adam liked to hear the most. Elliot also chose internal medicine. Adam smiled. Although residency training still requires rotation among various departments, the general direction is determined. This general direction is internal medicine and surgery. After that, they will further subdivide according to their own preferences and strengths, as well as the needs of the hospital, such as Adam's cardiothoracic surgery and Juno's neurosurgery. Alice, a woman with a plan, also had an idea early on that she would go to ophthalmology in the future. Although ophthalmology is not well known and is at the bottom of the medical contempt chain, it is only slightly better than dentistry, but like dentistry, it is a very profitable but relatively easy department. For Alice, who wants to make money early and live an upper-class life without being too tired, it is perfect. The competitive pressure in surgery is much stronger than that in internal medicine. Alian looks competitive but is actually very cowardly in her heart, so after 4 years of medical school, she recognized her true nature and chose internal medicine. Bianca, who is quiet, chose surgery. She originally planned to return to her hometown Chicago to complete her residency training after graduation, but Adam persuaded her to stay because he finally remembered who Bianca was, the female cancer doctor who was abused by the old bastard Frank in the American TV series Shameless. Now that he recognized her and they were close, Adam would definitely not let her go down the same path again. Chapter 267, Big Explosion in Case of Undecidedness. You and Iliad and Bianca are also in this relationship, right? Alice heard Adam mention Iliad and said disdainfully, "You have coaxed all 3 of the 1995 Columbia Medical School students into falling in love with you. You are really amazing." "Don't talk nonsense." "I didn't," Adam said with a smile. "Iliad, Bianca and I are all pure." "To your purity?" Alice said with disdain. "Haha." Adam smiled and changed the subject. "I have news for you. 2 top students from Harvard Medical School will come to the medical center for residency training this year. They are both masters. Especially Meredith Grey. Be careful not to let her pull your wings away." "Grey?" Alice's eyes narrowed. "That Grey?" "Yes." Adam nodded. Meredith's mother is one of the legendary figures in the medical field and an idol of female doctors. Everyone knows Grey's name. "Is she beautiful?" Alice half raised her body and looked at Adam. "Grey's name is too famous, and the medical center was Grey's main place of work before she moved to Boston, so she must have a lot of connections." Therefore, even though Alice didn't know that the chief of surgery at the medical center was Grey's good friend, she could understand that Meredith, a top student at Harvard Medical School, did not choose to intern in the famous Boston hospitals, but instead came to New York. Americans value connections the most. You can see this from the fact that letters of recommendation are more important than exams. This kind of gameplay is exactly the same as the one that was eliminated in the East more than 1,000 years ago, such as the selection of filial and honest officials and the 9-rank system. The selection of filial and honest officials is done by letting celebrities nominate, and the big guys approve, and then you can directly become an official. And you can even become a high-ranking official in the later stage. In the United States, celebrity recommendation letters, special recruitment by famous schools, and mixing qualifications and connections in college, after graduation, continue to rely on connections. Even if the grades are poor, it doesn't matter, and even the worse the grades, the higher the achievement. It turns out that there is nothing new under the sun. Pretty, and with a very magnetic voice. Adam smiled and said, "Very attractive, and very open-minded." "Another good friend of yours?" Alice was speechless. "Of course not," Adam said seriously. "Who do you think I am? Not every woman can be my good friend." This is the truth. Adam would not touch Meredith Grey, who can't control her pants after 3 glasses of wine. No matter how attractive she is about to enter the hospital for internship. And this is the American hospital in the world of American dramas. The world, editing, and world, drama, consciousness make the medical workers in the hospital particularly dangerous. If Alice is not the kind of beauty who is ready to take everything by beauty, on the contrary, she has a plan in mind. For her own image and to keep Stephen and William hanging, her style is even conservative. And William is obsessed with Alice because of the wonderful eye connection. and it seems that she is indispensable. Adam will definitely not touch Alice. Lou Joey Barney Ziobo once said, "Before falling in love with a woman, you must first make sure that I have more boats under my feet than she does, otherwise it will be a big loss." The meaning on the surface is very clear, but it also hides the survival rules that the romantic wanderers naturally understand. For those women who are more promiscuous than you, it is best to stay away from them, otherwise you may regret it. Alice looked at Adam for a while, and there was a hint of smile in her eyes. She lay down again, looking at the ceiling, a little absent-minded. Obviously she listened to Adam's words. Stephen and William, one is a spare tire and the other is a liquor. She doesn't want to give up, and if Meredith is really like what Adam said, it is really a threat to her. Don't think too much, drink today. Adam smiled. Come on. Alice pushed Adam away, who was starting to stir again, and stood up. While getting dressed, she complained, "That's all for tonight. I don't want to go back and do a few more hours of yoga. I don't have the time. Why don't you just ignore William for a week?" Adam reached out and pulled her back. Those who can't get it are always restless. Then what are you? Alice naturally couldn't beat Adam, and was pulled over, sneering, "I can never get it." Adam laughed. "You pervert," Alice scolded with a smile. An hour later, Alice left as usual, except for the first time she talked to Adam for a whole night. She didn't dare to stay overnight. The next day, "What's wrong?" Adam was urgently summoned by Chandler's phone call. Ross and Joey were also there. "Wedding vows, how should I write them?" Chandler held a piece of paper and a pen, and said in a dilemma, "Monica writes very fast, but I can't write a single word. She must love me more than I love her." "Don't be nervous, take your time," Adam comforted. "We will help you think together." As the chief best man, he is responsible for anything that the groom can't handle. Honor and responsibility are indeed relative. "Not nervous," Chandler said self-deprecatingly. "Monica now suddenly shouts to me every day, 'Do you know that we will get married in 4 weeks?' 4 weeks, baby, 4 weeks." As time goes by, her voice is getting louder and louder, and she is getting more and more excited. "If she knows that I can't write a single word of wedding vows, God knows what will happen." This is Monica. Brother-in-law Ross shrugged and said, "She has been planning her wedding since she was a child. I remember I told you this more than once. It was you who insisted on falling in love with her and getting married." "Thank you for reminding me," Chandler said sarcastically. "You're welcome." Ross wanted to talk, but when he met Chandler's fiery eyes, he could only make a zipper-pulling motion at the corner of his mouth. "Adam, you're a writer and the chief best man. This is all your job." Joey was also empty-headed and couldn't help but blame it. "Yes," Ross agreed. Chandler couldn't help but look at Adam expectantly. Adam's mouth twitched. He was just a novelist, and he didn't know a thing about wedding vows. There are many classic lines in Lord of Mysteries, but they were written by Squid. Adam, who was a little loser in his previous life, couldn't write such love and sweet stories. But now he really has to stand up. Fortunately, he liked to watch The Big Bang Theory the most in his previous life, and he was very familiar with everything in The Big Bang Theory, so he quickly came up with an idea. No matter if it works or not, just deal with it first. Then he quoted the lines from the movie Spider-Man that Sheldon quoted to deal with the angry Amy. "When I look into your eyes and you look back at me, everything becomes special, because I feel stronger and weaker at the same time. I feel passionate and scared at the same time. The truth is, I don't know how I really feel, but I know what kind of man I want to be." Chapter 268. Shocked. The bride actually had such an idea. "How do you feel?" After Adam read this classic line, seeing that they didn't respond, he couldn't help but say, "I'm just throwing out some ideas. Things like marriage vows still need you to think about them yourself. Only then will they be the most sincere and appropriate." "You're also a writer." He was interrupted before he finished speaking. "Wow, is this the strength of a famous writer? It's so well written and touching. Write it down. Write it down. This line is perfect for picking up girls." Joey and Ross came back to their senses and were very excited. "Do you want me to think about it?" Chandler also shouted, "I can't think of such a wonderful sentence even if I think about it for 100 years. This is it." Although he is engaged in advertising planning and has thought of many jokes and classic lines, he is more inclined to humor and comedy. This is determined by his personality. He can do humorous self-deprecation and spitting, but he can't do it when it comes to affection. This is also the reason why those men who can write and say love words are so attractive to beautiful women even though they are so bad. Scarcity makes things valuable. Girls are most attracted to this. Are you sure? Adam's mouth twitched. He did not deny that this line was very affectionate and touching, but it was written specifically for Spider-Man to marry Jane. If it was used in Chandler's wedding vows, it would always feel a bit strange. In the movie, Spider-Man has been secretly in love with the neighbor goddess Mary Jane since he was a child, and he only loves her from beginning to end. But Chandler and Monica are completely different. The first time they met was when Ross brought his roommate Chandler home to play during the college holiday. At that time, Monica was still a big fat girl. Monica fell in love with Chandler at first sight, but Chandler just sneered at Monica as a greeting, and then he said something bad about Monica behind her back, which was heard by Monica. Then Monica retaliated by accidentally cutting off one of Chandler's toes. For nearly 10 years afterwards, there was no spark between the two. Moreover, this line is also a Panacea-style love talk, which can be quoted by Sheldon to deal with the angry Amy, and Amy knew it was a quote, but she accepted it. You can imagine the power of Panacea love talk. If you think about it carefully, it seems to fit Chandler and Monica. When I look into your eyes and you look back at me, everything seems to become special. Originally, the two of them only had a strong friendship, but since the time they made love in London, the way they looked at each other has indeed changed. Everything is different. The truth is, I don't know how I really feel, but I know what kind of man I want to be. The next sentence also fits Chandler's mentality. He doesn't just not know how to describe his feelings now, and he does know what kind of man he should be. A good husband to Monica. Thinking about it this way, this sentence that Adam casually quoted can really be Chandler's wedding vows. The first part of the Spider-Man trilogy is still 4 years away from release, so this line is Adam's original. Of course I am sure. Chandler nodded heavily and handed the pen and paper to Adam. Write it down in full. And this is my wedding vow. Adam, you are so talented. Ross was convinced. In the past, he had a doctorate to comfort himself, but Adam was about to get a doctorate in medicine, and now he could even write such a wonderful wedding vows. He couldn't help but accept it. Haha. Adam didn't feel ashamed when he was a plagiarist for the first time, and now he certainly wouldn't feel ashamed, and he accepted the reputation as a matter of course. The reason why this line is so touching is actually normal. It is said that Hollywood movies are heavy industry. What is heavy industry? Large investment, industrial assembly line production process. Every link is standardized, and everyone is a tool. Take the screenwriter who originated the work as an example. In common sense, a work is a screenwriter's fantasy world, but under the heavy industry system of Hollywood, a screenwriter wants to complete the screenwriting work of a large-scale production with an investment of hundreds of millions. Don't joke. Human resources are sometimes limited. No matter how good a screenwriter is, can he consider every detail perfectly? Of course not. At this time, other screenwriters are needed to make up for the shortcomings. For example, some screenwriters are good at suspense, some screenwriters are good at humor, some screenwriters are good at positive energy, and naturally some screenwriters are good at romance. Spider-Man is a standard blockbuster produced by the Hollywood heavy industry. The screenwriter team performs their duties, and the most professional and top screenwriters write the most appropriate lines. How can it not be classic and moving? Monica will love it. Ross said affirmatively. You will have a great wedding night. Joey pointed at Chandler with both hands and winked. Hee. Chandler, who had gotten rid of the big thing in his mind and had such an unexpected surprise, was very happy. Like it. Adam wrote it and handed it to Chandler. After thinking for a while, he reminded Chandler, remember, keep the wedding vows well and don't let Monica see them. Why? Chandler was stunned. Don't you understand? Ross said as a matter of course, if she sees it now, the surprise won't be so strong then. No. Adam shook his head and said, I'm worried that Monica didn't write any good wedding vows. Once she sees yours, she might just grab it and use it. What? Chandler and Ross shouted in unison. How is it possible? Why is it impossible? The poor student Joey immediately understood and said bluntly, if she says the wedding vows first, she can do it. Just change the man at the end to a woman. I know what kind of woman I want to be. See, it's just as beautiful and moving. Don't take it lightly. Adam reminded with a smile, Monica cares more about the wedding than anyone can imagine. Once she thinks that this most classic wedding vow should be said by her, do you think she can't do such a thing? Chandler and Ross were stunned. With their understanding of Monica's character, Monica could really do it. In this wedding, Chandler is not even the most important thing. The wedding itself is the most important. In the original time and space, Chandler ran away twice that day, but Monica didn't notice it at all. She just walked back and forth, shouting excitedly, I'm getting married today, I'm getting married soon. He could get up immediately after falling down and continue to shout, my ribs seem to be broken, but I don't care at all, because I'm getting married today. Of course, in this life, with Adam, Chandler has changed a lot. He has no fear of marriage and family, and naturally he will not do such a weird thing as running away from marriage twice. Chandler stuffed the paper and pen to Adam, and took the one that Joey had written down and gave it to Adam. You are the chief best man, and the wedding vows will be put in your hands first. Hey, Joey shouted in dissatisfaction. Chandler glared at him immediately. I mean, this is good. Joey smiled. There is no way. The newlyweds are the most important. P.S. Thanks to book friends 160601201604275 and KinkyU9527 for their rewards. Chapter 269 Toilet Man. 2 months until Adam graduates. 4 weeks until Chandler gets married. Everything is going smoothly. A persistent prodigal is also pushing forward his plan. New York, McAllen Bar. Joey Tribbiani? That name sounds so familiar. Ted drank a beer and tilted his head in thought. You forgot. He's Adam's friend. He reminded Lily, who was sitting opposite him. We had dinner together in our freshman year. Matthew, who sat next to Lily and looked like a conjoined twin with her, took a big sip of beer and added, oh, I remember. Ted slapped his head. That time Adam made a lot of money by writing a book, and invited all his friends to dinner. There was a handsome actor among them, who was particularly good at eating. Wasn't he him? That's him. Sitting next to Ted was Barney Stinson, who was always dressed in a suit. He was seen spinning his glass and playing with it. His eyes slightly narrowed. What a glutton. Oh, it seems that someone is really upset with him, Lily said playfully. Did he steal your limelight? Ted hit the nail on the head. Can he steal my limelight? Barney sneered. No one can steal my limelight. That's hard to say, Lily joked. I know there's someone who stands next to you. No matter how many magic tricks and tricks you know, it's useless. All women's eyes will only be on him. How is that possible? Barney looked disdainful, but still asked, who is it? Adam, Duncan, Lily, Matthew, and Ted shouted in unison. The three of them were naturally Adam's alumni at Columbia University and used to live in the dormitory next to Adam. More than 6 years have passed. Ted graduated and became an architect. Lily is a kindergarten teacher. And Matthew, after graduation, continued his studies and is now a freshman at Columbia Law School. Like the medical school, the law school does not have an undergraduate program. Students with a bachelor's degree must apply, and the admission rate is not high. Columbia Law School is one of the top universities in the world. Matthew's successful admission shows his talent and hard work. Just like medical students have to bury their heads in big books, law students also have to read, understand and memorize complicated legal provisions in the vast legal books. It is no wonder that the two are so similar that they are both typical middle-class professions in the United States. Today, Matthew and Ted share an apartment upstairs from the McAllen Bar. Lily is almost living with Matthew. Although she has her own apartment, she often does not go back for several months. She just uses it as a retreat and a place to store things. The three of them hang out together every day, just like Chandler, Monica and Ross before. Matthew and Lily fell in love when they were freshmen. Matthew's previous statement that I was just playing with Lily became a joke. More than 6 years have passed, and the two are still inseparable. They have become shareholders, and they are full shareholders. Ted has changed from a little milk dog at the beginning to a big bad wolf in the skin of a little milk dog. He has changed girlfriends one after another, and I don't know how many good girls he has hurt during this period. Half a year ago, Barney, who was playing games, met Ted in the restroom of the Macallan bar. The two of them were peeing side by side. While peeing, Barney suddenly spoke. "Since my mother passed away, tonight is the first time I brought my deaf brother out." "Oh, sorry." Ted was stunned for a moment, and quickly apologized. "It's okay." Barney put one hand on the wall and held the gun in the other, and said affectionately, "Now I am the only one who can take care of him. Although I have to interrupt my dream to do this, I am very happy. He is my brother and I love him." Ted was even more confused, but seeing that the other party was so affectionate, he could only greet again, "Brother, I am sorry." While saying this, he packed up and prepared to leave. He came into P and encountered such a weird thing. He didn't know the other party at all. Besides, is it really okay to express his feelings in this posture in the restroom? Wow, do you believe it? At this time, Barney suddenly laughed. "What?" Ted was confused again. "I came up with that story while I was peeing." "If you believe it, the blonde girl at the bar will definitely believe it too," Barney said proudly while washing his hands. "Of course, unless you are a big idiot." "What's your name?" "Ted." "Ted, are you a big idiot? I'm still talking to you." "So?" Ted finally reacted and said something. "Good retort. I admire you a little bit." Barney washed his hands and left. 15 minutes later. "Ted, I plan to teach you how to live." Barney found Ted, hugged Ted, and said this. It is said that birds of a feather flock together. The reason why Ted was chosen by Barney is that he has that kind of romantic temperament, and romance and playboy are only one word apart, tightly entangled. Most playboys are romantic, otherwise how can they be playboys? Barney has been wandering around for so long, and he can see Ted's nature at a glance and take him as his wingman, which is actually normal. This encounter in the bathroom has also become a legend in Barney's mouth. Then many stories started from the toilet, and some people even became toilet warriors. The host found the wingman, and Barney successfully mixed into the small circle of the three people, just like Joey accidentally became Chandler's roommate and joined the 6 old friends. Now, it has become normal for the 4 of them to hang out in the Macallan bar together. Barney naturally heard the name Adam from Lily and the others, but it was the first time he heard about the relationship between Adam and Joey. Barney gritted his teeth, heard Lily and the others praise Adam, and thought of the super handsome guy who knew Joey before, and the two figures immediately overlapped. Adam Duncan. Barney described Adam's characteristics. "Yes, you met him?" Lily's eyes lit up. As a girl who loves love, even if she has a stronger relationship with Matthew, she can't change her lover's nature until death. Not to mention Adam, she often fantasizes about her future best friend Robin, and she always has a devilish look. Although Adam was an alumnus of the 3 of them and once lived next door to them, he hardly ever lived in the dormitory and soon moved out. After that, he kept hanging out with his old 6 friends, so naturally he had less contact with them. Then, Adam graduated a year early and was admitted to medical school, which made him even busier. After that, they also graduated, and they contacted even less. But as a well-known alumnus and a super handsome friend, Lily often mentioned Adam. At the beginning, Matthew and Ted also had a good relationship with Adam, and they were proud to have such an outstanding friend, so Adam always appeared in the background of their conversations and never disappeared. Chapter 270. Quote yourself. Macallan bar. Oh, Barney narrowed his eyes. "Of course I met him." Without waiting for Lily to ask, he said, "Since we are all friends, why not invite him over to chat?" Matthew hesitated. "He is very busy." "Is he so busy?" Barney urged. "Is it difficult to even meet friends?" "I'll make a call." Lily stood up and said actively, "Barney is right. We haven't seen him for a long time. It would be nice to get together." "Nice." Barney smiled proudly. He was worried about how to get into Chandler's wedding. If he just met him at the custom tailor shop at the beginning, he habitually wanted to mix into bachelor parties and weddings to play and pick up girls. It was optional. Then after learning that the groom was a good roommate and brother of his archenemy Joey, He was eager to join. The relationship between Adam, Matthew and the other two was a pleasant surprise for him. 10 minutes later, Adam came to the McAllen bar. They are all friends. Although they don't contact each other often, they will definitely come if they are invited. Matthew and Lily are also good friends that Adam admires very much. "Adam, let me introduce you," Lily said enthusiastically. "This is Barney Stinson, our friend, Barney, and this is Adam Duncan." "What a fate," Barney smiled. "Yes." After Adam sat down, he looked around. Among the 5 members of the Finding Mom group, only Robin was missing. Everyone talked for a while and talked about their recent situation. Barney couldn't help but say, "We will all be good friends in the future, and friends of friends are also friends." "Adam, why don't you invite us to Chandler's wedding?" Haha. Adam smiled and said, "This is not right. According to your statement, everyone in the world is a friend. Does Chandler want to invite everyone to the wedding?" "What?" Barney was also a little confused for a while. "Haven't you heard of the 6 degrees of separation theory?" Adam explained. In 1967, it was proposed by American social psychologist Milgram. Simply put, in interpersonal communication, any 2 strangers can establish a connection through the relatives of their relatives and friends, and this can be achieved through at most 5 relatives and friends. Lily proudly introduced, "Adam is not only about to become a doctor, he also has a bachelor's degree in biology and psychology." "Barney, you usually have a lot of theories, and they are all covered with the name of science. Now you are dumbfounded when you encounter real science, right?" Barney's mouth twitched. Although he graduated from MIT, this MIT is the Magicians Institute of Teaneck, a sister school of the home-based university, not the real MIT Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The various scientific theories he talked about were all Jucherin quoting Lugzam's famous sayings, and he quoted himself. "This set of operations has been done by many people, and there are even real scholars, and Barney is the leader among them. But when it comes to real scientific theories, he was exposed. He invented all kinds of scientific theories and routines just to pick up girls. He likes to do biological and neurological scientific experiments. He knows nothing about science." "Barney, I know you like to play." Adam smiled and said, "I like to play too, but you have to choose the right occasion for playing. If playing affects a wedding, it is not playing, but a sin. There is a saying in the East that it is better to destroy 10 temples than to break a marriage. So, don't think about Chandler's wedding and bachelor party. I will not allow anyone to ruin this match made in heaven." "What?" Lily heard it and waved her hand to hit Barney several times. "You actually want to ruin someone's wedding?" "I didn't." Barney waved his hand to block Lily's attack and said stubbornly, "I just want to participate and have a deep exchange with the bridesmaids. I didn't think about ruining the wedding at all." "Really?" Adam sneered. Barney was one of his favorite TV characters in his previous life. He was the real prototype of Luciabu. His coquettish operation made Adam talk about it in his previous life. The ones played by Luciabu were completely his deleted and weakened versions. Luciabu's adoptive father, Alexander Dumas, who had a great background introduction, was probably the undeleted and weakened side of Barney. Alexander Dumas plus Luciabu, isn't that Barney Stinson? But after traveling to this world, he really met Barney. Although he admired him, he was also more vigilant at the same time. Luciabu dragged Jiang Wei to a bachelor party, which directly led to Jiang Wei missing his wedding and his fiancée running away with someone else. In the future, Jiang Wei often cried secretly in front of the photo of his ex-fiancée Zili in his wallet when no one was around. It looks funny, but how many people can appreciate the sadness in it? Imagine if there was no such thing. Jiang Wei didn't fall down the stairs and become paralyzed, and didn't travel through time and space to the past, lead the farm to innovate technology, exceed the target, and get praise. He would just honestly go to the wedding. Without that weight, his fiancée might not have the courage to run away with her ex-boyfriend. After all, the wedding has already taken place. It takes great courage to escape in front of so many relatives and friends. Most likely, it was this long wait that gave her ex-boyfriend courage, and then she also had the courage. If all this had not happened, Jiang Wei would have been married. Of course, Zili was probably still thinking about her ex-boyfriend, But Jiangwei knew it very well, but he just liked Zili, so it was nothing, who didn't have a past. And with Jiangwei's personality, it is entirely possible that they would fall in love after marriage, and their marriage would not necessarily be unhappy. Maybe Jiangwei would play the role of the son-in-law, the strongest son-in-law, the best son-in-law, etc. But all of this was ruined by a bachelor night party. Did Liu Xiaobu care? Not at all. From beginning to end, he just thought it was funny and often teased Jiangwei about it. The deleted and harmonious version of Liu Xiaobu is still like this, not to mention the original American version of Barney. What would happen if it was Barney? He might take Jiangwei to a bachelor party first, causing Jiangwei's fiancée to run away, and then turn around and seduce Jiangwei's ex-fiancée. That's right, don't doubt it, Barney can really do this. When Adam really meets Barney like this, after he doesn't put himself in Barney's shoes, and the other party has ideas about Chandler's wedding, how can he not be vigilant? Of course, I swear. Barney immediately raised his hand and swore. Friends can joke around, but there are some things that can never be taken as a joke. Adam looked at him deeply. At first, Barney looked at Adam selflessly, but facing Adam's sharp eyes, Barney gradually couldn't stand it and took the initiative to look away. Okay, Barney raised his hands in surrender. Isn't it okay for me to give up? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 271, The King of Routines, Macallan Bar. Don't be so serious. Ted tried to smooth things over. We are all friends. There should be red lines between friends. Adam said seriously, if we don't agree in advance, how can we be friends if we cross the red line? Yes, Lily was the first to agree. There are some things that should not be done whether you are friends or not. As a woman, she is the most emotional about weddings and she is 100% involved in them. Naturally, she can't stand seeing someone ruining it, even if it is a good friend ruining someone else's wedding. I agree. Matthew's 3 views have always been the most correct, otherwise he would not be able to become a marshmallow judge in the future. That is one of the most awesome existences. Of course, this does not mean that the 3 views of the judge are the most correct, but this is the world of American dramas. Matthew's ability to become a marshmallow judge is definitely the greatest compliment to his correct 3 views. After all, this is all acted for others to see. Okay, seeing this, Ted could only shrug his shoulders. Barney, Adam is right. You really have to be more careful, otherwise you will not be friends anymore. I know, Barney pouted. The main reason why he raised his hands and surrendered, in addition to Adam's sharp eyes, was that he was keenly aware that Lily and Matthew were on Adam's side. It is not so easy to integrate into a circle of friends with a good atmosphere. Once he insists, even if Ted speaks for him, the atmosphere of this circle of friends will be broken, and he will most likely be excluded, because the foundation of this circle of friends is always Ted, Matthew and Lily. Although he always asks Ted to say that he is Ted's best friend, he knows that Ted will not alienate his real best friends Matthew and Lily for him, and he also likes Matthew and Lily very much. This is evidence that he, who has been hurt by love, believes that love still exists in his heart. So he never thought of Lily, and he also cherishes the relationship between Matthew and Lily. Adam actually knows this mentality very well. You must know that when he watched the American TV series How I Met Your Mother in his previous life, he was substituted for Barney. After crossing over, he became a prodigal like Barney and understood Barney better. Just like bad guys like to be friends with good guys, who among the prodigals doesn't like to be friends with a couple like Matthew and Lily who are willing to win the heart of one person and stay together forever? You are amazing. Barney looked at Adam, his eyes narrowed habitually. Actually, I am the same as you. I have always regarded the Brotherhood Code as a holy code. I will also record the one you said later. Haha. Adam smiled and said, I know the Brotherhood Code. I am very happy that you are willing to add the rule of not destroying other people's marriages, but I hope that on the last page of your Brotherhood Code, It will not be written that the final right of interpretation belongs to Barney Stinson, and then if you want to destroy it, you can say that the Brotherhood Code is meant to be broken. Barney was really stunned this time. This is his deepest secret, and he didn't expect that Adam would reveal it in one word. For him, the Brotherhood Code and the principles that brothers and friends must abide by when getting along are all pretexts and routines. Doing whatever he wants is his only rule. You lied to me. Dad saw this and reacted, and said angrily, "So your brother code has such a saying?" Barney kept telling him about the sanctity of the brother code. After so many times, even though Ted didn't care at first, he gradually agreed with it. He never thought there would be such a thing. Okay. Barney saw that he couldn't hide it anymore, so he had to say frustratedly, "I'll delete this one when I go back." Okay, then, he was puzzled and said, "Adam, how did you know?" Haha. Adam smiled reservedly. "It's very simple. Judge others by yourself, and don't hesitate to speculate on the weaknesses of human nature with the greatest malice." "You are awesome." Barney gave a thumbs up. Adam smiled but said nothing. Lily then turned her attention to Chandler and Monica's wedding again. Adam satisfied her gossip one by one. Lily listened with relish. Matthew did the same, and he looked at Ted from time to time. Adam's heart moved, guessed Matthew's thoughts, and laughed in his heart. As the best man, are you really not going to find a dancer for the groom? Barney couldn't help asking after a while. Why? Adam asked back. It's a tradition. Barney immediately got excited. A bachelor's night without a dancer is incomplete and doomed to be unhappy. Most of the male compatriots who attend are here for this. If you don't find a dancer, what will they see? And I believe the bridesmaids will also organize a bachelor's night party for the bride. Can you guarantee that they won't find a dancer? Adam was stunned. He didn't care about Barney's previous words, but he really couldn't guarantee the last sentence, because he vaguely remembered that Monica seemed to have found a dancer for her bachelor's night, and Monica had a lot of fun. After the wedding, it was revealed that Chandler was jealous, so much so that Monica turned into a dancer and specially held a bachelor's night party for him again. Barney was delighted to see this and said, "I'm right. If the groom doesn't hire a dancer and the bride does, then the groom will lose out. What's the loss or not?" Adam's mouth twitched, and he didn't mean it. In fact, dancers are nothing. After all, Adam took Chandler to play for several weeks to ease his obsession with Joey's girlfriend Casey. But at that time, Chandler was not in love with Monica, and he was not the groom. Now that they are married, Monica will probably hire a dancer. If Chandler doesn't hire one, Adam really feels a little bit of a loss for Chandler. Yes, this is not a question of loss or not, but a question of tradition. Barney tightened his tie, held his head high, and restored his usual momentum of talking nonsense. "Do you know why brides and grooms will hire dancers at bachelor night parties? Club promotion, expanding demand, and making more money?" Adam teased. Barney paused, looked unhappily at Adam, who always spoke the truth, then looked away, looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle, and said in an expression and tone as if he was chanting an epic poem, "That's because this is foreplay." Foreplay? Lily and the other two were confused. Yes, it's foreplay. Barney's theory came to mind. Think about it. A couple is about to enter the palace of marriage, but before that, they have been engaged and have lived together for a long time, and the novelty has seriously decreased. In this case, how much anticipation will they have for their wedding night? Very little. So, a genius came up with the idea of a bachelorette party and gave both parties the right to find dancers. Just imagine that the couple who were excited by the dancers at the bachelorette party can only see but not eat, and they are full of anger, and then hold a romantic wedding to make this fire burn even more. On the wedding night, what kind of amazing power will this flame brought by the extraordinary foreplay that has been suppressed again and again burst out? The wedding night will definitely be very passionate and unforgettable. Lily instantly entered into fantasy, biting her lips, with a devilish look in her eyes. That's it. It's basically the Yellowstone Park volcanic eruption. Barney snapped his fingers and looked at Adam proudly. So, for the happiness of the couple, should we find dancers on the bachelorette night? Chapter 272, The Real Man's Choice. Macallan Barr, Heretical Theory. Facing Barney, who was still determined to do evil, Adam said calmly, "If two people who love each other get married and rely on this kind of thing to liven up their wedding night, it means that their love has gone wrong. What's the point of getting married? Just cancel it." Lily, who was trapped in fantasy and had a devilish look in her eyes, felt like a basin of ice water was poured on her head. She came back to her senses with some embarrassment, and then stared at Barney with shame and anger. "Barney." "What?" Barney looked innocent. "What does this have to do with the relationship between the two parties?" "It's just a thing to liven up the mood." "Don't tell me that you have never used something like this." "No." Ted and Matthew shook their heads. "No." Lily hurriedly denied it, but her flickering eyes had already revealed something. When she got married in the future, her best friend Robin gave her a hot wedding gift, and it was in full view of everyone. Her mother, grandmother, aunt, sister and even niece were present. She was embarrassed to death. But afterwards, when her best friend Robin wanted to take back this embarrassing gift, at first, the two of them tried to find various reasons to get it, but in the end, Lily snatched it away. "It's unlikely that she has never had such things to liven up the mood." "No need," Adam said confidently, although when he mentioned this issue, the image of Heather wearing Wonder Woman and other equipment flashed in his mind, but that was completely different from what Barney said. Adam, who was showing off, did he need these nonsense things? Haha. Barney sneered, with an expression of disbelief. Come on. Adam ignored him and directly avoided the topic. But in his heart he became more alert to Barney's ability to make trouble. In such a short time, Barney was able to come up with a set of perverse theories, which was really a gift. The reason why it was a perverse theory, not nonsense, was that his set, at first glance, really made sense. Otherwise, Lily would not have been fooled, and her eyes were so devilish. This kind of talent is really possible to believe in his evil if you are not careful. Matthew and the other two were all top students, so naturally none of them were dull. Seeing this, they naturally cooperated with Adam and ignored Barney's talk. They just talked about some interesting things in the past. Barney tried again and again, but failed. In the end, he had to give up with a sullen face and got up to pick up girls. For him, who was determined to be the first and the last in the world of picking up girls, he would feel uncomfortable if he didn't pick up girls for a day. If he didn't have a new routine for a week, he would be decadent and unmotivated. It must be said that the atmosphere of the bar is better than that of the cafe. After all, one is refreshing and the other is refreshing. Alcohol is a matchmaker. In fact, Barney and the other two also went to the cafe to try it, but the three grown men sat there, staring at each other, and they all felt it was very boring, so they just left. Chandler and the others also liked to go to the bar downstairs before. When it was changed to a cafe, they kept shouting, "I will never patronize it again." Later, it was more of a helpless feeling. "I was too lazy to run, so I just made do." The next day, Adam approached the chief bridesmaid Rachel and secretly asked about the bride's bachelorette night. "Why are you asking this?" Rachel looked at Adam with great vigilance. "Is this something you should ask, Dot?" Adam's mouth twitched, and he said speechlessly, "Why can't I ask? As the organizers of the bachelorette night for the bride and groom, we should communicate and have a tacit understanding, right? Is it necessary?" Rachel was a little confused. It was certainly not the first time for her to be a bridesmaid, but she was forced to be Mindy's bridesmaid before. She was not the chief bridesmaid, was not liked by the bride, and actually had no experience. "Of course it is necessary." Adam saw this and knew what was going on. He smiled slightly. "Rachel, do you know about nuclear peace?" "Huh?" Rachel was even more confused. As a naive person who can do things like change majors because parking in the teaching building is difficult, it would be a joke to say that she is interested in learning. Americans are generally not interested in history, especially those involving foreign countries. They don't care at all. Rachel can't even tell the difference between World War I and World War II. Both sides must ensure that they can destroy each other, and then neither dares to take action. Adam explained briefly, "Just like us, as the best man and the maid of honor, what we have to do is to ensure that the wedding goes smoothly, not to seek excitement for excitement. I will not find dancers for Chandler, so I hope you don't do this either." "Why?" Rachel said with some dissatisfaction, "Just asking them to dance and relax, and not doing anything else. What's the problem? What's there to relax about?" Adam complained. "Are they not happy in their marriage? Do you want your future husband to have a twisting body sitting on his thighs? Anyway, I know Chandler definitely doesn't want Monica to use her teeth to loosen the dancer's pants." Okay. Rachel raised her hands in surrender and looked at Adam in surprise. "What's wrong?" Adam was puzzled. "If Ross said this, I think it's normal, but I never expected that it was you who said it." Rachel exclaimed, "You are a playboy. How can you be so conservative in your heart? Isn't it better to be more conservative?" Adam laughed. "This is Chandler and Monica's wedding. Why are they so open? TSK. Rachel suddenly reacted and said contemptuously, "I think you are double standard. You only allow you to play outside, but not your girlfriend or wife, right? We are talking about Chandler and Monica's wedding. Why are you talking about this?" Adam smiled without comment. "Just spend this single night plainly, without looking for dancers and other excitement. Is that it settled?" "Okay, I get it." Rachel rolled her eyes at Adam and didn't continue to criticize Adam. In her mind, rich people are like this, not to mention that Adam is so young and handsome, with a lot of capital to play, strict with others and lenient with himself. That's basic operation. Hi. At this time, Joey came in with a big smile on his face, waving at everyone he saw. "What's wrong with you? What good thing happened to you?" Adam smiled. "Look." After Joey sat down, he lowered his body, stretched out his hand and pulled, revealing his Zodiac Year underwear. "The key is that the style is women's." Adam and Rachel were stunned. "Phoebe is right. Only real men dare to wear it like this." Joey pursed his lips and said proudly, "Silk underwear feels really comfortable, which is completely incomparable to men's underwear. And there are many styles: bikini, French cut, t-shirt, and the materials are cotton, silk, and lace." "You know a lot." Adam suppressed a smile and said, "It seems that someone has done a lot of homework." Of course, Joey was about to continue talking, but was interrupted by an angry scream. "Joey Tribbiani, what's wrong?" Joey looked at Rachel in confusion. Rachel gritted her teeth and drawled, "What you are wearing is mine." Adam. Chapter 273 Singles Night. "Stop the car." Central Park Cafe. "Yeah," Joey said as if it was a matter of course, "I can't just go buy one specially, can I? It just so happens that your laundry basket is right there. I'll borrow it first." In the past few years, Rachel and Ross have been on and off for several times. As Chandler and Monica fell in love and lived together, Rachel had to move out. Chandler's bedroom happened to be vacant, so at Joey's strong invitation, Rachel moved across the street and became roommates with Joey. With Rachel's style of appearing in the late period with a little paint, it is normal for the extremely private laundry basket to be placed in the living room instead of the bedroom. "This is the boundary I have always told you about," Adam complained. "I was going to give you that apartment at the beginning, but you didn't want it. Do you regret it now? It's a bit expensive for me to rent it alone." Rachel was aggrieved and regretful, and Joey warmly invited me to live here. Although her style is becoming more and more open, she still can't accept this kind of thing. After all, Joey is not her boyfriend. No matter how good the relationship is, there is a limit. Joey's behavior makes her feel a little disgusted. "What's wrong?" Joey was immersed in the silky feeling of a real man, and for a moment he didn't realize that his behavior was too much. "You've crossed the line," Adam reminded. "Rachel is not your girlfriend. How can you take her underwear without saying hello, and put it on yourself?" If this is not a comedy effect, it would be a hooligan and perverted behavior anywhere. "Oh." Joey looked at Rachel's ugly face, and then reacted, and smiled. "Rachel, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean it. I just want to prove to Phoebe that I am a real man." "Forget it." Rachel looked at him with disdain, and then warned, "This is just this time, and it won't happen again." "Remember." Joey nodded heavily. "What does this have to do with being a real man?" Adam asked curiously. "It's like this." Joey talked about the whole story. It turned out that Phoebe's new boyfriend was seen by Joey wearing women's underwear. He also felt weird at the time. When he asked Phoebe, he didn't expect Phoebe to say that she asked him to wear it, and said that only a real man has the courage to wear it like this. Then, Joey had the urge to give it a try. "You believe that?" Adam teased. Then you can go to a gay bar, there are all real men there. Joey was stunned. He really didn't expect this. He was a simple-minded person, and his biggest rebuttal to Phoebe's words was, "Of course I am a real man. You all know those Playboy magazines I collected, right?" Busy time passed quickly. 4 weeks passed quickly. The night before the wedding. Single night. Groom, are you ready to enjoy your last single moment? Adam smiled. Of course. Chandler rubbed his hands, a little excited. The single night party was planned behind the groom's back, just for a surprise, and he still didn't know what Adam had prepared. Then let's go. Adam snapped his fingers and walked out with Chandler. Where are we going? Chandler was looking forward to it and said jokingly, "Let me make it clear first, we can't go to those unhealthy places. I'm afraid Monica's brother will chase me to the ends of the earth and beat me up." Ha ha ha. Adam and Joey burst into laughter. Ross stared at everyone unhappily. What's so funny? We are laughing at Monica's brother. What does it have to do with Chandler's best man, Ross? Adam said jokingly. That's right. Ross is also a best man, but not the chief best man, just like Phoebe is a bridesmaid, but not the chief bridesmaid. At that time, he will stand behind Adam. In the morning, when no one was around, Ross found Chandler and had a conversation with Chandler as the eldest brother-in-law with a very serious and fierce expression. You are getting married tomorrow. I am very happy for you. But as Monica's elder brother, I must tell you one thing. If you dare to hurt my sister, if you dare to make her unhappy, I will find you at the ends of the earth and beat you up. This fierce look not only did not scare Chandler, but made him laugh out loud. Then, everyone who heard this laughed. Even the bride Monica was no exception. Ross's face turned blacker and blacker, but no one told him the reason. In fact, he knew a little bit in his heart, but he just didn't want to say it. In everyone's eyes, Ross is a geek. Of course, he is far inferior to Sheldon Leonard and others, but he does have that meaning. He can talk about scientific things very well, but he is a loser in physical conflicts. When he was a child, he was robbed by the girl Phoebe. A few years ago, he was scared by 2 bullies and dared not come to Central Perk Cafe for coffee. He was so cowardly, but now he said so fiercely that he would act as a muscle for his sister and beat anyone who dared to make her angry, and he would not let go of anyone at the ends of the earth. Are you sure you're not a monkey sent here to make fun of me? Speaking of which, he only dared to compete with his biological sister Monica, and he beat Monica without mercy. Of course, most of the time, he was the one beaten by Monica. Don't worry, I'm very healthy and will never give Monica, my biological brother, a chance to beat people. Adam joked. Everyone went downstairs, and a luxury limousine was already waiting there. It's not fair. Ross couldn't help complaining when he saw it. When I got married, Adam, you were also the best man. Why didn't you have this? Which time are you talking about? Adam said playfully. Ha ha ha. Chandler and Joey laughed again. I missed the first time. Adam pressed the communicator, signaling the driver to set off, and joked. The second time was in London, not at home, and the third time, you and Rachel got married and divorced in Las Vegas. Tell me, what can I do? Ross was speechless. Don't be envious, you still have a chance. Joey patted Ross on the shoulder and said seriously, anyway, you have divorced Rachel a long time ago. Maybe the 4th wedding will come someday. Let Adam make it up to you. We all believe you can do it. Yes, Adam laughed, but there is only one chance. Otherwise, you will get married once a year. Even if I am a billionaire, I can't bear it. Ross crossed his arms and sat there angrily, rolling his eyes, not wanting to say a word. Nowadays, when people hear that he has been married and divorced 3 times at such a young age, many of them will just leave, because it doesn't matter how many times you fall in love, but marriage is still very sacred in the hearts of Americans. Marriage, man, it's not a nice name. Hey, no, stop the car. Adam, who was joking with everyone besieging Ross, suddenly shouted, but the car did not stop in response, and it was still driving fast. Chapter 274 The Great Doctor's Power. Seeing that the driver ignored him, Adam had already guessed something in his mind, and he slammed the sealed baffle. The soundproof baffle could not withstand Adam's strong beating. The car slowly stopped. The soundproof board was put away. "Sir?" The driver looked at Adam innocently. "Isn't this the way to the gym next to the kindergarten?" Adam frowned. "Yes." The driver smiled and said, "Your good friends have replanned the route for you and want to give you a surprise." "Good friends?" Chandler and the other two were confused. "We don't know any good friends," Adam said coldly. "Now, go to the gym immediately. We want to watch the game. I will negotiate with your company for the follow-up matters." "Yes." The driver's smile froze. He didn't dare to argue with Adam. He agreed and restarted the car. It costs a lot to rent such a luxury car. Most people don't have the spare money. Even for a big day like singles night, only people above the middle class are willing to spend this money. If it was really an ordinary middle-class person, the driver would have probably just fought back, because such customers are mostly one-time customers, so it doesn't matter if he fights back. But Adam is obviously a rich man, and in this country, you can't mess with rich people. And he was the one who was wrong in advance. That's right. He knew there was something wrong, but he took the money and had a decent reason, so he planned to pretend he didn't know. It was a bachelor's night, and good friends wanted to give a surprise. The groom and the groomsman must be in a good mood, so they would just smile and get over it. Isn't it nice to get extra money? Who would have thought that Adam would see through it after just 2 blocks? And the reaction was so big that he couldn't pretend he didn't know. "Adam, what's going on?" Chandler was a little confused. "Which good friend is playing this joke on us? Who else could it be?" Adam complained. "Of course it's Barney Stinson who can do such an unreliable thing." "Barney Stinson?" Chandler and Joey shouted in unison. "Who is Barney Stinson?" Ross was confused. "No need to think. He must want to drag us to the bachelor party he prepared." Adam shook his head. "Spending so much money for a stranger, just to watch a dancer's performance together?" Ross was stunned. "Is it so boring?" "It's so boring," Adam complained. "In fact, there are countless more boring things than this. In order to pick up new girls, he can go to the airport and pretend to be an international businessman. When he sees the target, he can directly buy a plane ticket and fly to anywhere with her." "Now I finally know why I always lose to him in the past few years," Joey said angrily. "This kid is so damn willing to spend money. Airline tickets are not cheap, and ultra-long distance tickets are even more expensive. Barney can spend money for a new woman without frowning. You have to admit his generosity." "What does he do? So rich?" Ross envied him. "Is he a super rich second generation?" Adam thought for a moment and shook his head. "He should be a senior executive of a financial company." "He's not a super rich second generation, but he has a high income and can afford to have fun." Barney's occupation has always been a mystery. Even Ted and the others don't know. It's even more confusing to us friends than when Chandler worked as a data processor in an IT company. No one can tell. But it's certain that he has a high income and free time. Otherwise he wouldn't be so boring that it's shocking. "How did you find out?" Chandler breathed a sigh of relief and asked curiously. "Yes." Joey and Ross also looked at Adam. "This kind of luxury stretch car, the back seat is just like a small KTV room." When everyone was talking and laughing, Adam could quickly detect the problem, which was a bit surprising. "I have a good sense of space." Adam smiled. "I can feel that the route he took doesn't match the route in my mind." "So amazing?" Everyone was amazed. "That's nothing," Adam said with a smile. "I have a friend who has a high-definition image memory. He can record what he has seen as if he were taking a picture with a high-definition camera and will never forget it. He also has a super imagination and often develops the sea of stars in his brain." Then, he briefly told everyone about Sheldon's awesomeness. Everyone was stunned, especially Ross. It was like a pseudo-academic master meeting a super-academic god. He admired and felt inferior to Ross. When he thought about how he had said that his SAT score had increased from 1250 to 1450 in order to brag, he was panicked. Compared with the real genius who seemed to have superpowers, he didn't even have the imagination to brag. Adam listened to their exclamations quietly, with a reserved smile. As time passed, his wisdom point was getting closer and closer to Sheldon's, and his understanding and memory in medicine were no longer a problem. He originally thought that this was it, but something that surprised him happened. His memory has gradually taken on a flavor of Sheldon's high-definition image memory. and his understanding and imagination have also taken on a flavor of Sheldon's evolving the stars and the sea in his brain. This has directly led to his easier medical studies, and has increasingly impressed the professors and frontline doctors who have taken him on internships. Because Adam is not like a senior medical student at all, but more like a knowledgeable and experienced senior resident. Not to mention medical students, even interns and junior residents find it difficult to see the patient's problem at a glance and give a very clever solution. The reason for such a big change is the combination of these two abilities that are very similar to Sheldon. High-definition image memory is like a high-definition court machine that scans and records all the patient's information. And the imagination of evolving the stars and the sea is like a 3D modeling, rendering and animation software such as 3dMax, which turns the recorded patient information into 3D animation. Combined with the massive amount of standard medical books he has read, he can compare and screen to find out the problem and give the best solution. Now, just having that idea has made Adam's medical skills progress by leaps and bounds. Once Adam can really reach or even exceed Sheldon's level, combined with his hands as steady as a mountain, his superb speed, and his endurance at the level of show-off, it will be a natural thing for him to become an unprecedented great doctor. The reason for this change is that Adam thinks it is still the saying, the closer you are to the red, the more you are to the black. Becoming friends with Sheldon not only improved his IQ, but also made him gradually possess Sheldon's two super talents. Praise Sheldon, we are going to the gym. Everyone sighed for a while, and then they remembered that the car Adam said was going to the gym next to the kindergarten. Yes, Adam smiled and said, let's go to the ice hockey game first, in the front area of the infield. How about it? Yeah. Chandler and the other two cheered immediately. Chapter 275. Nora still has her charm. Inside the car, Adam was very pleased by the cheers of Chandler and the other two. Although he didn't like watching sports games other than women's sports such as synchronized swimming, diving, gymnastics, and volleyball, he also knew that the heavyweight games in the front area of the inner court were definitely a great gift for fans. This was the first event Adam prepared for Chandler's single night. The fact was just as he expected. Chandler and the others loved watching ice hockey games, and they had never watched them so close before, and they were all very excited. Obviously, it's not only dancers who can add to the fun at the game. Chandler and the others cheered along with thousands of people, while Adam smiled and thought about how to teach Barney a lesson after the wedding. That's right, he wanted to teach Barney a lesson. For someone like Barney, words are obviously empty. Adam had emphasized that before, but he still did something like this, which was definitely over the line. Barney thought he was very interesting, but Adam, standing in the position of Chandler's chief best man, didn't think it was fun at all. Because Barney's single night game was exactly the original version of Luciabu's ultimate single night. Luciabu's ultimate single night, playing the so-called flying chess. Barney's ultimate single night, watching dancers perform stunts such as opening bottles. The similarities between the two are that the final ending is not as good as they described, and there will be various accidents. Luciabu missed the wedding because of drinking too much, and Barney often simply messed up the party, feeling quite hungover. Combined with Barney's disapproval of marriage, Adam had to wonder if he did it on purpose. Combining all these, Adam would not be able to make sense if he didn't teach Barney a lesson afterwards. Over there, in an apartment, 5 chairs were arranged in a circle, and a dancer stood in the middle. She looked at her watch boredly and asked Barney, who was sitting on a chair, "Is it not here yet?" "It's almost there, it's almost there." Barney frowned, got up and went to the window to look downstairs, but there was no sign of a car. Half an hour later, he received a call from the driver and learned what happened. After hanging up the phone, he tightened his tie, narrowed his eyes, and smiled to himself. "Well done, Adam Duncan. Are we going to start?" The dancer also knew that she was stood up, and said unhappily, "Let's make it clear first. The money must be paid." "Let's start." Barney smiled and sat back down, lit a cigar, puffed out the smoke, and watched the show alone. The ice hockey game was over. Back to the car. "How do you feel?" Adam smiled. "Great. The effect of the front area of the inner court is different. Why haven't we tried it before?" Chandler and the other two were a little excited. "What are we going to do now?" Ross asked expectantly. How about a big meal? Adam smiled. Yeah, Joey, the foodie, was the first to shout. Adam, you're spending too much. Chandler felt a little embarrassed. Whether it was the custom-made dress, the luxury limousine, or the tickets for the front area of the inner field, they all cost a lot of money. Now he was going to have a big dinner, and he knew that this big dinner would definitely be better and more luxurious than before. Although he had publicly counted Adam's kindness to him over the years when he chose Adam as the chief best man, he had never spent money this intensively before. You know, his parents didn't sponsor his wedding at all, but Adam spent so much money on him. Of course, money can't represent everything, but most of the time, the amount of money spent can reflect the closeness of the relationship between each other. Ross and Joey were a little embarrassed when they heard this. Originally, the cost of this event should be divided equally by Adam, Ross, and Joey. But if Adam really did it this way, the money spent seriously exceeded their budget, so in the end it was handed over to Adam, and they only paid a symbolic $500 each. And looking at the money for renting a car, you can tell that it is not something that can be spent with $1,500. Don't think too much. Adam waved his hand and said, enjoy it. As good friends, we shouldn't look at how much money we spend, but at the proportion of the money spent. Even if I spend $1 million, it's actually about the same as Ross Joey spending $500 on you. Yes, Joey's eyes lit up. That makes sense. We shouldn't look at the total amount, but the proportion. Ross looked at him with contempt. This was just a nice thing to say. Can $500 be the same as $1 million? According to this, Adam must have spent less than $1 million. Does that mean Joey and him are more attentive than Adam? Chandler obviously knew this truth, but seeing Adam say that, he didn't say much. He could only accept the kindness with emotion and secretly decided that when Adam got married, he would also arrange a dreamy single night for Adam. As expected, the feast Adam arranged this time was a real feast. Not only did Joey couldn't stop eating, but Chandler and the others also feasted on it. They were so happy. The bachelorette night passed without any accidents, healthy and happy. The next afternoon, everyone gathered at the Plaza Hotel. The wedding will be held here at 6 o'clock. Monica was originally going to book another hotel, but Adam booked this place for them. It was an extraordinary treatment, and Monica was almost crazy with joy. Rachel escaped from her marriage for the first time here. It was Leonard who spent a lot of money to get in. In terms of connections, Adam is naturally not as good as Leonard in the medical field, but as a well-known writer and billionaire, he is much more prestigious than Leonard in other places. It was not difficult to help Chandler and Monica reserve a seat. Adam accompanied Chandler and Monica to welcome the guests. Chandler, Mom, Nora, who was still elegant in a tight golden outfit, walked in. Thank you for remembering to wear clothes. Chandler habitually complained. He. Nora smiled, but her eyes fell on Adam involuntarily. Hi, Adam. Hi, Mrs. Bing. Adam responded with a smile. Hi, Monica. Nora then looked at the bride, her future daughter-in-law Monica. You are so beautiful tonight. Thank you. You too. Monica hugged her and sighed. Chandler is so lucky to have found a wife and a friend like you. Nora hugged Monica, but her eyes met Adam's. At this time, Monica's parents came over. Mrs. Bing, this is my mother Judy and my father Jack. Monica let go of Nora and introduced them to each other. Nice to meet you. Monica's mother smiled and shook hands with Nora. So, are you his mother or his father? Monica's father, like Ross, sometimes likes to be witty. Jack. Monica's mother stared at him. What's wrong? I've never seen a person who changes his mind before. Monica's father said innocently. It's better not to think about it too much. Seeing Nora let go of her hand awkwardly, Adam couldn't help but said, for Monica and Ross. Monica's father's smile froze. P.S. Thanks to Roger Rofas for the reward. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.